ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Kevin Winter with you inside our Granger Studios. ESPN NBA analyst Jalen Rose with me as well. We count you down to tip-off game number 6. Celtics and Sixers. Philly goes for the knockout punch in this series tonight. Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander have our call coming up from Wells Fargo Center, where the last time Philadelphia played a game at home.
Moves it into Embiid in the high right post, banging against Tatum. Now double team comes back to Harden. Corner 3. It's good. James Harden gives Philly the lead. 42 for James Harden. 18 seconds to go in overtime.
That was in the extra session on Sunday. Our player resume with James Harden brought to you by Indeed. A tracked interview at hireatindeed.com/credit. Constantly gets beat up during the postseason. Does James Harden? He's never won an NBA championship. Jalen, what has impressed you most about Philadelphia here in this series so far?
The number one thing that has impressed me is that James Harden has had moments where he's just been dynamic scoring the ball. And that's what they're going to need. Anytime you have 2 40-point games during the series, he led the league in assists this year. I know Maxey got going in the last game or so. Joel Embiid coming back from an injury has been playing very well. But the question mark for me has always been, can James Harden be a version of himself in the playoffs that we see during the regular season? And he's been dynamic for the Philadelphia 76ers. I've been very disappointed in some of the things, in particular strategy-wise, from head coach Joe Mazzulla of the Boston Celtics. There was a game late early in the series where he gave the ball to Marcus Smart, and he ended up trying to give it to Jason Tatum. In the previous game that they played, Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart did a pick and roll. Jason Tatum drives to the basket, kicks it out to Marcus Smart. He shoots the basketball after the clock goes out, and then last game they just got whacked. They just got blown out. So I would like to see more two-man actions with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I would like to see Jaylen Brown in particular to be more aggressive, looking to score the ball the entire game. There's been periods of time where he's aggressive, and then there's quarters where he doesn't get shot. That's a huge adjustment that the Boston Celtics need to make.
Who's more pressure on tonight? Obviously, Boston's season's on the line, but they do have, if they are able to get this year back home. Well, how are you viewing this game? Because if you're Philadelphia, I'm not sure, even though you won in Boston in 2, I don't know you want to go back there again.
Not at all. If you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you got to close this thing out. Same with the Los Angeles Lakers against the Golden State Warriors. You got to close it out. This is your opportunity. You've been knocking on the door. Joel Embiid, I believe, is 0-5 in conference semifinals series. He's won the MVP this season. I believe if you're the Sixers, you got to get this game. If you allow the Boston Celtics to come and win this game on your home floor, I really feel like that's going to give pole position to the Boston Celtics.
You mentioned Joe Mazzulla. How badly is Doc winning the coaching matchup, and how much has Doc's experience helped Philadelphia in this series?
I think it's helped them a lot. The one thing that Coach Mazzulla has to understand, it's okay to call timeout. What ends up happening as a player, and I'm serious, like what ends up happening as a player and somebody that's played for multiple coaches is coaches can be really stubborn. They can be caught in their own ways, and they can try to be the smartest person in the room and prove to everyone that their way is the only way. And what he has to understand, and I believe he can and will understand just because he's a young coach, is when the Sixers score the ball and James Harden makes that big 3 in the right corner, you got to call timeout. You got to re-energize your group. You got to draw up a play. You got to actually get a shot off. They didn't get a shot off. And so the goal isn't to go into the locker room after the game and prove how many timeouts you can have. The goal is to actually execute, in particular with a team that made it to the NBA Finals last year. So I don't go by what people say. I go by what they do. And I believe if and when in that situation, in a close game again, he's not going to go into the locker room with 2 timeouts remaining.
That's Jalen Rose. Jalen, appreciate it. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll catch you on the back half of the doubleheader as well for the Suns and the Nuggets, game number 2 on the ESPN television side. Kevin Winter with you inside our studio. The last time the Philadelphia 76ers were this close to the conference final, they lost game 7 against the Atlanta Hawks in 2021. 2 years before that.
Siakam screen for Leonard. Leonard has it out top. Leonard against Ben Simmons. 2 seconds to go. Kawhi Leonard hangs. Fires shot up. It rims, and it rims, and it went in. Toronto wins 92-90. Are you kidding me? Suspended animation, a pause, and then the ball went in. Kawhi Leonard has won the game.
Tom McGinnis, 97.5, the Fanatic in 2019. It's been Heartbreak City in this round for Philadelphia. They've never been to the conference finals since back in 2001 in the days of Allen Iverson. For the Boston Celtics, their dream season could come crashing down tonight without even making it back to the conference finals, but they've been here before. A year ago, The NBA on ESPN Radio is presented by Indeed. Attract, interview, and hire at Indeed.com/credit. Sit back, buckle up, everyone. Enjoy the ride. It's Game 6 with the call to Wells Fargo Center. We go. Enjoy the broadcast team alongside Corey Alexander. Here's Sean Kelly.
Kevin, thank you. It's great to be in Philadelphia tonight. They are lubed up, ready to roll. The hairs on all arms in this building are raised as we get set for Game 6 in this best-of-7 series. With Corey Alexander, I'm Sean Kelly, and I don't think I'm using hyperbole here when I say this is the biggest 76er game in 22 years.
It absolutely is that. You go back to 2001 where the Philadelphia 76ers, led by Allen Iverson, of course, coached by Larry Brown, met the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals. That's the last time this Philly team had that type of hope. And right now with a 3-2 lead here, an opportunity to close this series out on their home floor, their fans are looking for similar magic.
Off to the Eastern Conference Finals, perhaps. They have the MVP in tow. He's been just that. Joel Embiid has been sensational for the 76ers in this second round. Meanwhile, Boston, deja vu all over again. Same position a year ago. The defending conference champs are sitting here in a position where they could be eliminated tonight. They faced the same thing last year. Tatum had 46, and we know what happened from there. But for Boston, this has not gone well in the last two games. They've kind of put themselves into this position.
They absolutely have, and they put themselves in this position because they have not been the same Boston Celtics defense that we watched make it to the NBA Finals and win 2 games last year against the eventual champion Golden State Warriors. That's what Joe Mazzulla's team has to bring back into this game, is that defensive identity that's made them so great.
One adjustment going into Game 6 has already been unveiled. Robert Williams will move into the starting lineup. They're 36-15 this year and last when this starting five goes at it.
And when I think that's for the defensive purposes, to be able to guard Philly better, to be able to try to contend with Joel Embiid, the MVP, one-on-one, and take away Tyrese Maxey's 30 points, take away James Harden going out and getting 40 points, and try to make it to where they're a one-dimensional team trying to play through Embiid.
All right, give me a key or two for each of these two teams tonight.
Well, for the Boston Celtics, one is simply play with a sense of urgency. And secondly, they have to defend at a high level, especially here in a hostile environment on the road. And I would agree with Jalen Rose. I'd like to see Joe Mazzulla call a timeout when his team gets a little rattled. On the other end of the floor, it's having a Game 7 mentality for the Philadelphia 76ers. They do not want to go back to Boston in a Game 7. They have to know that this is the opportunity for them to be able to move on.
Let's get to the starting lineups. Philadelphia's is now being introduced to this massive crowd. I don't know if you could squeeze another body into the Wells Fargo Center tonight. Let's start with Joe Mazzulla, though, and the visiting Boston Celtics. The lineup changes we mentioned. Robert Williams into the starting lineup, 6'9", out of Shreveport. He averages 4 points a game in this series. Bigger role for him tonight. Derek White means that he'll be off the bench. Otherwise, Marcus Smart at the point, averaging over 15 a game in this series. He only has 3 steals. All 3 were in Game 3. Otherwise, Smart, who's always a perennial defender at the top of this league, has 0 steals in the other 4 games played. Jason Tatum starts slow and has been hot in the last games in this series. Jaylen Brown starts hot and then kind of fades away. He's on the other wing. Both those guys, first team All-NBA, as announced last night. And then in the middle, the old head, Al Horford out of Florida. He will be in the middle tonight after going 0 for 7 from three-point in Game 5. Horford, Brown, Tatum, Smart, and Robert Williams tonight for Boston. Meanwhile, for Doc Rivers of the Philadelphia 76ers, same starting 5, anchored by the MVP, Joel Embiid. Otherwise, James Harden, who's had double figures in just about every category at different points in this series. Tyrese Maxey at 30 in Game 5. He's alongside Harden. And then, of course, Tobias Harris. And then the always reliable P.J. Tucker in that starting 5 for Philly. Harden, Maxey, Harris, Tucker, and Embiid. Our officiating crew for the National Basketball Association, David Guthrie is the crew chief tonight. Ed Malloy and Curtis Blair also on the whistle. Jason Goebel is here just in case as the alternate. Eric Lewis anchors the replay center in case we need it. The Sixers will wear the royal blue jersey and shorts. PHILA across the front. White letters and numbers trimmed in the red. And for the Boston Celtics, the white jersey, the white shorts, Kelly green letters and numbers with Celtics in an arch across the chest. Here we go. This city is on the brink. It's been that way for 48 hours. Will they be moving on or going to Boston? Let's find out as we're underway, and the opening tap belongs to Philadelphia. So glad and honored that you're with us tonight. We hope you enjoy this much as we intend to calling it for you. Embiid, top of the arc. Philly's first possession. They shoot the goal to our right. Hands it off to Harden. 9 to shoot. Works downhill. Tried to go weak side toward Tucker as deflected out of bounds. Brown got a hand on it. Put it off Tucker, and it's Boston ball.
And what you also like to see is the matchups, especially on the initial play. Jason Tatum taking on the role of guarding James Harden as Al Horford is guarding Joel Embiid.
Tatum dumps a corner left. Smart for a three. Get it out, no good. Rebounded out of there by Maxey for Philadelphia. So Brown now against Harden in the left front court. Left of a screen, Harden splits two and draws a foul going to the rim. That's old James Harden, sticking both arms out, the razor wire, and draws contact from Robert Williams, his first.
But unlike the old James Harden, he passes that basketball off before he gets the whistle, so won't get 2 free throws. Of course, James Harden led the NBA in free throws for about 4 to 5 years straight when he was in Houston.
Sideline right inbound, finds Maxey, retreats a couple of steps, now works to his left, over a drag screen by Embiid, to the rack, and a runner up at the rim is off back iron and no good for Maxey. Maxey's been up and down in the series, coming off a big one, though. In Game 5 in Boston. Smart top of the arc, sent to do the right angle. Tatum spins, drives on Harris, Euros to the lane, back out up top. Smart for 3. Got that one. And that's how this one starts. Boston 3, Philly nothing.
And you can see that the Philadelphia 76ers were going to be content with Marcus Smart being the guy that beats them from beyond the three-point arc. They just don't want it to be Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown.
36% this postseason to Smart from downtown. Tucker out of the left corner, answers right back. And so here's a guy that has not given you big scoring numbers. He has the first field goal of the night for Philly.
And we saw P.J. Tucker early in the series reluctant to shoot that three.
Pass inside, deflected, stolen by Philadelphia. Harden up the center of the floor. Looks the man off, drops into the trailing Embiid to the rack. Layup, no, too hard off the glass.
And Embiid is down. He's limping behind the play.
Again. To Williams on the trail, and he dunks it off the catch with 2 hands as it was a man advantage for the Celtics off transition.
So we got to keep an eye on Embiid. James Harden going to throw him the basketball. If anything makes you feel better, is getting the basketball in your hands.
Jab step, right foot, left of the lane, face-up jumper, rim, glass, no good. Rebounded by Tatum. 5-3 early here, Boston. Brown, pull-up jumper, the free throw line. Good. Jaylen Brown's got his first. He's been averaging 10 points a game in the first quarter in this series. Makes it 7-3.
It has to continue to be aggressive, not just in the first quarter, but throughout the entire game. With Jason Tatum being the first option that the Sixers are trying to take away, they need Jaylen Brown to step up and be that secondary scorer.
9:25 to go in the first. Harden from the left side of the floor, dumps it to Tucker. Pass up a 3, dropped it because he had a shot blocker in front of him. Philly maintains possession. Now Embiid tied up, strip stolen by Smart. And then Embiid pulls Smart to the floor at half court, right on the 76er logo.
And it's going to be interesting to see if that's a take foul on Embiid. Smart was ahead and on his way down for, could have been a contested layup. I believe that James Harden was back, but Doc Rivers over trying to plead his case.
Take foul is the call. Doc Rivers about jumped out of his quarter zip, and he's still arguing with David Guthrie. And it'll put Tatum on the line all by himself. I just talked about Smart only having the 1 game with the 3 steals. That's a big one, taking it away from Embiid at the top of the arc.
And this is a big free throw, Sean. People may not recognize it or not. But Jason Tatum seeing the basketball go through. He hasn't taken a field goal attempt yet, but he already has a point. And seeing it go through, that's the way many guys get their rhythm offensively, getting to the free throw line. Will be interesting to see how Tatum, because you talked about Tatum getting off to slow start. We'll see if he gets off to a faster start after getting a free throw early.
He's missed 14 straight field goal attempts in first quarter play in the series. Tatum from the top of the arc, runs it down the lane. Push shot, no good. Hit the rim twice, make it 15 straight. Harden ahead. Crossover dribble, Harris, 2-foot jump stop. Center of the lane, puts it up, missed an 8-footer. Rebound for Boston, who leads by 5. Smart sends it to Brown, right wing. Drives, cross the lane, right to left. Out to Horford, swing pass deflected. Smart caught it up top, tried to send to Tatum, and a leaping Harden popped it out of bounds into the Philadelphia bench.
Great hands by James Harden getting into that passing lane. Otherwise, it would have been a wide open 3 for Jason Tatum.
Boston's been a better road team here of late as they try and keep this series alive tonight. Brown off the inbound, steps in toward the free throw line and shoots into contact, no good. And by the sound of this crowd, you can tell there was a foul that they didn't like. Brown going to the line, and that's going to be number 2 now. But on the 76ers, first on Tucker.
But the reason why the crowd doesn't like it is because P.J. Tucker actually jumped straight up into the air, so he would not have made contact with Jaylen Brown if Jaylen Brown didn't initiate the contact. The problem is P.J. Tucker allowed Jaylen Brown to get him off his feet into the air. At that point, you're at the offensive player's mercy.
So Brown, who leapt into Tucker for the contact, knocks down the first free throw. And that makes it 9-3 now, Boston. Second is also down. On the road, Boston 121.6 points per game, averaging over 17.5 threes per game. Home, those numbers dip. Embiid, left of the lane, throws it away from Horford. Up top, Harden for 3. Skips off the rim, no good. Popped out by Embiid, but caught by Tatum. Tatum, on a broken floor, drive and kick to Brown, corner left. Shot fake, works his way to the cup, jumps through 2, finds Smart, wing right for 3. Good, another three-pointer for Marcus Smart to 10-point lead for Boston and a timeout for Doc Rivers.
Marcus Smart talked about having to do the little things, fight, scratch, claw, whatever was necessary to win this game. Well, he brought his 3 along with him, knocking down his second three-point field goal early.
6 to lead all scorers. 8-10 to go in the first. Doc Rivers out still arguing with the officiating crew as we step aside. Here in Game 6, Celtics 13, 76ers 3. You're listening to the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now the pass goes inside to the dotted line. Wiggins turns, jump hook, yes, and one.
The Warriors return home and survive a must-win Game 5. Now we head back to Los Angeles where they face a must-win once again. Will they survive? Game 6 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on Sirius XM Channel 80.
Digging deeper, we're gonna strike gold. The road to the ACC Softball Championship is on ACC Network.
Over the wall and gone.
A team that doesn't give up.
Live from South Bend, Indiana.
They get ready to play for a title.
The 2023 ACC Softball Championship, presented by Auto Owners Insurance, continues through semifinals on Friday at 1 and 3:30 Eastern on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. We're gonna strike gold.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
At the track, at the wall, good!
It's interleague action at Fenway Park.
Paul Goldschmidt goes yard.
Red Hot Paul Goldschmidt leads the St. Louis Cardinals into Boston to face Raffy Devers and the Red Sox.
Pitch and tip very well by Devers. Back. Good!
The Cardinals at the Red Sox. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app.
Friday on Fitz and Harry, we're reacting to the Sixers and Celtics as Philly looks to punch their ticket to the conference finals.
Plus, the Lakers are not the only home team in a must-win Friday.
Oh, Fitz and Harry Friday, noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and watch on the ESPN app.
Kevin with you at a Granger studio. Don't forget to log on to our Twitter account at NBA on ESPN Radio to vote in the AutoZone in the Zone poll question. Who's going to get in the zone for this matchup? Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, James Harden in the zone. Brought to you by AutoZone. What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander, Jaylen Brown going sans mask to start a game for the first time since he suffered a facial fracture back on February 8th against Philly. He took the mask off in Game 4 against Atlanta after a slow start, but he's had it on at the beginning of every game since. Back to you.
Hey, Kevin, you know, of course, James Brown is from Atlanta. There's a famous rapper there by the name of Future who's got a song called Mask Off. Maybe he was vibing to that pregame, and it's worked for Jaylen Brown to start this one.
Joel Embiid also without his knee brace tonight. But, Jaylen Brown has averaged 10 points per game in the first quarter. He is helping Boston to this 10-0 run and a 10-point lead.
I'm not sure if Meek Mill has a song called Brace Off, but I'll look it up.
2 Chainz has that one. I'm sure of it. There's Embiid on a fader elbow left. No good. Rebound, though. Tucker finds Maxey. Attacks, dumps it from under the rim. Back to Tuck. Tuck from the right baseline. Passes on a bounce to the left corner. Maxey quickly to Harris. Lob over the top. Caught right wing by Harden. 3 to shoot. 2 to shoot. Shoots. Blocked by Tatum. Ball goes out of bounds. It'll be Philadelphia ball, but the shot clock sounded as the ball hit the blue paint off the right sideline. The officials are conferencing now to decide whether this is a turnover.
I believe that hit the ground before the shot clock went off. So I think it's going to be, a short 0.6 is what they've determined. I knew it would be a little bit on the clock remaining. You can still catch and shoot with 0.6, but you've got to have a quick release.
5 straight misses now for Philadelphia, who's 1 for 7 here in the first quarter. Bounce pass into Harris. Flyer deep in the shot clock. It's the top of the backboard. And there's your turnover. Boston, who's been criticized for a lack of defense in this series, is up by 10 and has stuffed Philly at every turn on the right end of the floor.
But if you go back and look at the games, Boston's gotten ahead in a number of the games in this series and allowed Philly to walk them down, come back and win games. So, of course, Doc Rivers and his 76ers don't want to get behind, but at the same time, they don't panic if they are giving up double-digit leads.
Flaring is Tatum to catch on the left side. Works over the drag screen up top by Williams. Lob for the rim. Alley-oop dunk thrown down by the rolling Robert Williams.
And that's another area that Robert Williams brings to this lineup that Al Horford does not, being a lob threat, which, of course, is dangerous against Embiid and pick and roll.
Runner left of the rim. Missed by Maxey. Cleared by Horford. Smart tried to thread the needle, send it ahead, and it's stolen instead by Harden. Harden back to Maxey. Leads for cutting Harris. Harris attacks the rim. Lay it up. Tipped away by Horford. Loose ball for Marcus Smart. 15-3 Celtics.
2 shot blocks on that possession. Robert Williams actually got a piece of that shot by Maxey earlier.
Foul here by Harden. Reached up and tagged Tatum trying to feed the paint on a pass from the perimeter. I didn't catch the Robert Williams part of that.
Oh, yeah. Robert Williams went up and got that when Tyrese Maxey went baseline and tried to go to his patented floater. And again, you know how much I hate floaters, but Maxey has a great one. If I have to say a guy that has mastered it, Tyrese Maxey is one of those guys.
Smart goes out, White in, pass for him, stolen by Maxey, going to the rim, lays it up and scores. Foot race won by Maxey against Jaylen Brown. And that was sorely needed for Philadelphia to make it 15-5.
It really was. His youth and energy is a breath of fresh air for this Philadelphia team, which is laden with veterans.
White catches, turns the corner down the lane. His runner's no good. Rebound out to Tatum for 3. Air ball. Way off. Wide left. Goes out of bounds. Philly ball.
And Tatum felt like Anthony Melton fouled him on that shot. Did not give him space to land. Was looking at Curtis Blair trying to plead his case to no avail.
16 straight misses now from the field in the first quarter for Tatum. Meanwhile, Philly still down by 10. Harden goes right of a high center screen. Backs up now, retreats front court right. Dribbles between the legs, eludes Brogdon. Dumps it off to Embiid. Pump fake down the lane. Dunked it with 2 hands. Went right by Al Horford to make it 15-7.
But because Embiid has been making a habit of knocking down that 15-foot jumper, Horford goes for the shot block, allowing Embiid to go down the lane for the easy bucket.
White will catch here on the left angle. Playing catch up top now with Brown. Brown jab step, left hand dribble to the broken line. Pivots 360. Shoots on a fade, a little strong. Rebounded by Harris. Couple of subs in there for Boston. Harden flips it over his shoulder. Back to Joel Embiid. Reset to Harden, who pops back out to catch between the circles. Draws Horford on a switch. 10 to shoot, and they've really spaced the floor. Harden drives the lane. Shoots into contact. Well defended. Loose ball knocked away by Horford ahead to Brogdon. who may have gotten away with a travel. Nope, late whistle and a travel by Brogdon, who came down with the ball before putting it to the dribble.
And Malcolm Brogdon almost threw that back court as White was coming up from behind, but recognized where he was on the floor, tried to throw it ahead to Jaylen Brown, but landed before he got Brown's attention.
Fourth turnover on Boston. Philly's got 3 in the period. Maxey out of Garland, Texas on their left angle. Works inside the three-point line, feeds the left corner. Drive to right, dunk on a blow-by for Tobias Harris. He dusted Jason Tatum to make it 15-9.
And Jason Tatum did not want to pick up a foul on that possession, so went hands up and allowed Tobias Harris to be able to get by for the open dunk.
Brown turns the corner, shoots off 1 foot, missed it from 13 feet. Rebounded by Harris. He'll bring it up the right side. Feed the right side from Melton for 3. No good. That's his first trigger. Rebound into the corner. Maxey buries the corner three-pointer. Now it's a timeout for the Boston Celtics as Philly has come back to make it a 3-point game on a 9-0 run.
After a slow start, the Philadelphia 76ers have found some momentum. A 9-0 run over the last 2:51.
4:29 to go in the first quarter. Now it's cooking in Philly. Boston 15, Philadelphia 12. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Can LeBron give you a 40-point triple-double if needed?
I think it's way more reasonable in Game 6 to get like a 35 and 18 game from AD. I think you can still get a high 20, almost triple-double from LeBron James. I think the days of LeBron James having 40-plus in a triple-double, I'm not sure we're going to see that game at this level right now.
I say if he needs to take over, I believe he can, Jay. At some point in the game, if he needs to take over.
I believe that too.
Take over in the fourth quarter. If he needs to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter, 100% he can, because he knows that it's all on him. And when you know as an athlete, Jay, when it's all on you and you got to perform at a certain level, you do it.
Coming up Friday, we'll recap both Game 6s and get you ready for Knicks and Heat, as well as Warriors and Lakers, which you'll hear on ESPN Radio. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny.
With Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, we saw kind of a few different versions of Rodgers. It'll be interesting to me to see what it looks like with Nathaniel Hackett in New York, with Garrett Wilson. Okay, offensive line. There's no doubt in my mind that it will be better than what we saw last year, but I think there's reasonable questions just of how much better it will be and what it will look like.
Listen and subscribe to The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny.
People were talking to me at the draft like I had just had a baby. Everywhere I go, I'm walking the streets of Kansas City, and I got people stopping me. Hey, Greeny, congratulations. It took me a minute to realize they're referring to the Jets getting Rodgers. The reality is it couldn't be going better. It just couldn't. You couldn't ask him to be doing this better than he's doing it.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app.
Kevin Winter with you inside a Granger studio. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
For us, it's our pace. And I don't mean running. I mean, we can't get stagnant on offense. We just cannot. If it's a low clock basketball game for us, it's not a good thing because they have size, they have strength, and they have great defenders. If it's an early clock game for us, we're going to have a sensational game.
And it's been a sensational stretch, a 9-0 run. And Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander, Doc Rivers' team, they've been shooting early clock during that 9-0 run. Back to you.
Yeah, Philly was down a dozen. They cut it to 3 here at 15-12.
And we also saw Philly with the shot clock violation before that 9-0 run, which is one of those late clock possessions that Doc Rivers is talking about. But as Kevin mentioned, that 9-0 run, they were getting quicker shots. And, of course, the steal by Tyrese Maxey getting out in transition, the easy layup, got it going.
Philly down 3 despite shooting 29.4%. Boston ball into their own timeout, shooting at the end wire left. Eric White in the right front court. Pitches it to Tatum, top of the arc, drives. On Melton, stripped, got it back. Shoots a bunny, missed that. Put back won't go either off a second chance. Embiid clears it all the way down the other end of the floor and leaping for the rim, but missing the lay-in off the catch was Harris. Brogdon now a transition. Buries a 3 coming back quickly off the right angle.
And Boston needs a big game from Brogdon. Of course, the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. They need for him to show up on both offensively and defensively if they're going to try to extend this series.
He's got the first points off either bench. Crossover dribble, Harden freezes, picks it up, shoots at the free throw line, missed it. Rebound tipped by Brogdon to Tatum. They'll play catch down the floor, back to Tatum, right to the rack, laid it up and missed. What is going on with Tatum in these first quarters?
It's something he's thinking about right now. And he got away with a travel on that possession, so felt like he got away with one and took his concentration off making the layup.
Embiid, ISO play, goes to the rack, shoots, fouled by the help defender. Horford needed some help, and Jaylen Brown came over, but fouled Embiid, and Joel Embiid will go the line at our right.
Check that. Fouls on Al Horford.
Oh, they just changed it. Fouls on Al Horford.
Joel Embiid at the line to shoot 2.
Embiid at the line. He's made at least 10 free throws in 3 straight games. And that's happened now in 17 of his 51 postseason games. Just to give you some perspective, that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a high percentage that he's getting double-digit free throws made.
It absolutely is. And, again, he puts that much pressure on opposing defenses. And, of course, this is the only arena where the fans can chant MVP and actually be telling the truth. It's happening everywhere. However, these are the only truth tellers right now.
Embiid knocks him down to make it 18-14. Horford gives to his left. Brogdon turns, shoots, and buries the 3 off the bounce. Brogdon's got a pair of 3s now, and it's 21-14.
And that's just an element that he brings to a team that was already dynamic shooting the 3. He brings another very good three-point shooter coming off the bench.
Here's Maxey working the dribble to the left front court, goes around the screen, launches a 3, and answers right back.
And that's just too easy. Malcolm Brogdon going under the screen. That's a rule of thumb for a guard. Defender goes under the screen, you must shoot the 3.
He's got 8 points in the quarter. Tatum off the right angle, drive and kick to Horford left angle. Works through the lane. Layup blocked by Embiid at the apex of the runner. Melton almost turned it over. Wing left into the left corner. Step back 3 on the way. In and out, no good. Horford has the rebound as Daniel House missed his first opportunity. Driving the rack. Brogdon's layup blocked from behind by Embiid. Oh, they're going to count it. Goaltending this time. Embiid tracked it down. Oh, and he should have gotten the shot block. The ball was sitting at its height, and he tapped it before it reached the backboard. Doc Rivers can't believe it.
Well, I am a friend to the officials, but they got that one wrong, my friend.
Yes, they did.
That was a clean block by Joel Embiid. Should have been 2 points that the Celtics didn't deserve.
Inside to Melton, throws a wing right to Harris, drive and kick, House for 3, good, onto the right corner. So Philly cuts it now to 3 at 23-20.
And House, who wasn't really much in the rotation in the previous series, now stepping up, making big shots for the Sixers off the bench.
Played 15 minutes last game. Smart out of the paint to the right, flat. Catch and shoot on the face-up, missed by Horford. Rebounded by House. He'll bring it up himself. Sends it wing left. Harris showed us a little triple threat and quick went into Embiid. Back out for the 3. Harris line drive shot won't go. Rebounded by Tatum. Valid pass to White on the left side. White puts his back to the goal below the high post. Finds Tatum. Drives. Whoops. Didn't want to shoot against Embiid. Pitches out to White for 3. And it's a good move.
Smart decision by Jason Tatum. We've seen Joel Embiid blocking shots currently in the painted area, drives, tracks the defense, and kicks it out for White, knocking down his first three of the evening.
4 assists for Tatum. Horford and Embiid battling left side of the lane. Embiid spins, traveled, shoots, and draws a foul.
And Robert Williams has been waiting for a while to come into the game and spell Al Horford. And that foul will allow Williams to get into the game. The crowd here wanting a technical foul on Horford for being demonstrative toward official David Guthrie as he's walking to the sideline. But Al Horford's too good of a guy to be handing out technical fouls, isn't he?
Yeah, and 16 years in the league affords you a little leeway, don't you think?
Man. He doesn't look like he's been playing in this league 16 years, though. Still looks like a young guy, but got tremendous amount of experience and also the relationships with an official like David Guthrie that allows him to be able to have those moments and still not get a technical foul.
And let's remember the time of year, too.
Some guys that whistle's a little quicker, though.
It is.
At least on the first one.
Both free throws down for Joel Embiid. 4-point lead for Boston at 26-22. Embiid has 6 points, 4 of those at the line. Under a minute to play here in the period. Tatum works over a double drag up top, throws to a popping White left wing. Shot fake, step back three. In and out, no good. Rebounded by House for Philadelphia.
2 for 1 possession for Boston. Got a good look, just unable to knock it down.
Maxey deep three up top. Skips off the rim, rebounded by White. Half a minute to go.
Maxey tried to go 2 for 1 as well to try to get a quick one up, but not sure how much time they will have on the return as Boston will try to milk this one down.
13 to shoot, 20 to play in the period. White up top, between the rings, guarded with some space by House. Bounce pass to his right. Tatum picks up Embiid on the catch defensively. Back to White. White drives on Melton, kicks corner left. Brogdon for 3. Bottom. How about Brogdon here in the first quarter? He's got 9.
And the clock is running. Joel Embiid never touched the basketball. Officials blowing the whistle, recognizing that. Joel Embiid tried to allow the ball to roll down the floor to give him some time, so they'll reset it at 6.2, take it out.
You think the home clock operator will be a little better, huh?
Well, he got reminded by his brothers here in the city of brotherly love.
Mm-hmm. Yes, crowd got him. 6.5 to go. 6.5 on the clock, and it's going to allow Boston to pick up here full court as a result. We'll throw it into Embiid. Embiid across the 76 logo to the top of the arc, shoots for 3 at the horn. Rebound off the miss for Boston, and that's how the quarter comes to an end. So up 12 at one point. The lead got trimmed to 3, but here's Boston facing elimination, leading by 7 at the end of 1.
And using the three-pointer as their weapon, which they've done all season long. Malcolm Brogdon off the bench with 3 3-point field goals made. Derek White chipping in, and it's been the bench production from the Celtics that's allowed them to build this lead.
Brogdon's got 11 to lead them all, and we head for the second in Philadelphia. Boston on top by 7. 29-22. This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Did you miss Canty and Carlin?
Leading up to the draft, as I was preparing, I just got mock drafted out. And I said, I just want to start drafting stupid things. All right, what are things that we can draft? We got to the worst people when you're ordering food. I had an incident at the drive-thru where I was not welcomed back to that particular Burger King. They had a 2 burgers, 2 fries for $2 deal, and they ran out of burgers, and I was screaming at the box. You call yourselves the Burger King. That happened, I promise.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
I think when you look at the situation in Justin Fields, he's only going to get better. My good friend Ryan Poles is doing an amazing job in the draft and the offseason and making sure things are being done correctly for Chicago to build in the future. I just think that this is a 3-headed division with Minnesota, Green Bay, and potentially Detroit.
I don't see them going from 3 wins all of a sudden beating the Vikings or beating Detroit to win the division. I don't.
Agreed. Too many holes to fill. I'll just mention again, Justin Fields. For people who are like, oh, he has so far to go, had a 54 QBR. Whatever you want to say about QBR, it's a pretty good thumbnail sketch of, hey, quick, what do you think? That's above average already. Just because the guy can run. Now he has some receivers, like some decent receivers. It's going to get a little better.
3 wins and how many wins, Max?
6, 7.
Yeah, fair double it.
Key, Jay, and Max. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
When you talk about a Jason Tatum, a guy who can score the basketball at will, Jaylen Brown, who can score the basketball at will, I can't see the Boston Celtics breaking these two guys up. Those type of guys don't grow on trees now. It's not like you go to the store and buy a damn pack of Skittles and you just find Jason Tatums and Jaylen Browns running around. So for the Celtics organization, you have to keep those cornerstone pieces together.
Fitz and Harry, weekdays at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Kevin Winter with you inside our Granger studio. The Malcolm Brogdon quarter for the Boston Celtics.
White up top, between the rings, guarded with some space by House. Bounce pass to his right. Tatum picks up Embiid on the catch defensively. Back to White. White drives on Melton, kicks corner left. Brogdon for three. Bottom. How about Brogdon here in the first quarter? He's got 9.
3 for 3 from distance, 4 of 4 from the floor. He finishes with 11, and the Celtics have a 29-22 lead. Back to the start of the second quarter. Here to Game 6 with Corey Alexander. Here's Sean Kelly.
Kevin, thanks. Corey, what did you take away from the first 12 minutes here?
Well, I think the Philadelphia is fortunate to be down by 7. When you consider the way that that Boston played offensively, the turnovers hurt the Celtics. But Joel Embiid and James Harden, both MVPs now in this game, only one combined field goal for the two of them. So I believe that Philly's fortunate to be only down 7 to this point.
Boston ball to start things in the second. Shooting at the underwire left. Brogdon, the hot hand, brings it up the left side. Throws to Brown. Brown tees up a straightaway 3 and ripped it. Listen, Boston this year, go ahead.
No.
Boston this year, regular season and postseason combined, when they shoot 40% or better from 3, they're 34-2.
And Philadelphia going zone on that last possession. So, of course, Boston going to look to exploit that.
Harden with a little push-off and a fading jumper at the foul line to make it 32-24.
With Philly in the zone now, immediately matching back up man-to-man after Brown makes that last 3.
Brown, crossover dribble from the left angle, works toward the elbow, jump pass to White, angle right 3, got another one. Mercy, that's 8 3-pointers now for Boston in the opening half.
And when the Celtics shoot the basketball like this, which they've done the majority of the season, they're hard to beat. And again, they didn't shoot like this at home in Game 5.
Pass inside, fumbled, stolen. Marcus Smart back in, takes it up the floor to Brogdon. Retouching is Smart, over to Brown. Pump fake against Harden, works down the right slot, climbs the defender and lays it up and in. George Niang got worked over in front of the cup, and that makes it 37-24.
And I like the aggressiveness of Jaylen Brown to start this game, taking his opportunities, especially driving the basketball to the rim.
Harden for 3 straight away. No. Rebound for White, and Boston's enjoying its largest lead thus far. White left-hand dribble to the top of the arc. Puts his back to the goal, sets it up for Brogdon. Driving to the left front court. Into the paint, spin, shoots on a fade. Sideways, he shot it but missed. He went halfway in and came out. So Philly brings it up, and again, they've got to see a shot go in at some point here. 2 minutes into the period. Hand off to Harden. Harden backing up into the right front court as Robert Williams on him, way out on the perimeter. Harden trying to send a cutter through the bottom side. Harden, crossover, beats Williams. Drives into Smart, contact, whistle, and a foul. It's an offensive foul on Harden as Smart takes the charge.
And James Harden tried to avoid the offensive foul on that possession, was moving to his side. However, Marcus Smart does a great job getting in legal guarding position and really making sure that even with the Euro step, Harden runs him over. And Smart takes that charge. And, of course, he talked about what was going to be necessary for his team to win this game. And Marcus Smart has brought it here early.
KYP, know your personnel, right?
That's fact.
Is that knowing that Harden likes to Euro to his left, so he anticipates by stepping to his right?
It's that, and also knowing that Harden is going to do everything he can to get to the rim with Williams guarding.
Okay. This 3 off the right side by Brown. Tucker was up in his face. Harden now races past Williams, goes the rack, blocked by White, who came to help. Boston ball. Up the floor to Smart, working the right side above the break. Retreats with those multicolored sneakers. Lobs it for the rim, hit the back of the rim. Williams never got off the floor, and it's cleared by Philadelphia.
Forgive the pun. That's just not a smart play by Marcus on that possession. There's no advantage there for Williams. It's a senseless turnover.
We see what you did there. Tucker, left corner three. Nope, he was wide open. Rebounded by Brown. Still a 13-point game. 37-24 C's with 8:50 to go in the first half. Brogdon left-hand dribble from the right front court. Tried to feed inside under the goal. A lot of traffic. Ball knocked loose. Tucker goes down and gets it, and then hangs on and takes a foul from Brogdon.
Yeah, once you fall down on top of the player, it's one thing to put your hands on the basketball, but at the point to where you fall down over top of the guy on the ground, they're going to call that foul. Now, to P.J. Tucker's credit, he had a lot to do with Malcolm Brogdon falling. So let's just say a crafty play by P.J. Tucker to draw that foul.
There's no surprise about that. All right, Maxi's return now for Philadelphia, replacing Niang. For the C's on the floor, it's White, Smart, Tatum, Robert Williams, and Jaylen Brown.
You see Joe Mazzulla not wasting much time getting Jason Tatum back in the game, even though he hasn't been shooting well.
Maxey turns the corner, goes down the lane, and he runs it up and in with contact. How did he make that go?
Yeah, that was great defense by Jaylen Brown on that possession. Just even better offense from Tyrese Maxey.
Both sides needed something to go through the hole. It's 37-26. And a foul inside as Robert Williams tangled with Harden, who may have flopped a little bit on a little forearm pop.
Harden flop? No. Come on, Sean Kelly. Have you ever seen James Harden flop? Don't answer that. That's a rhetorical question, by the way.
I know.
And are the Boo Birds here for Al Horford?
Yeah.
Is that what it's for?
They didn't like his 1 year here. Horford back in with 2 fouls. Defending Embiid left in the lane. Embiid takes him to the hole, puts it up, missed it point-blank range. Williams popped it out of there, but he got hit in the face. Power play, or a shorthand at the other end. Smart for 3, buried a corner left 3 anyway.
And the 5th assist for Jason Tatum. So even though he's not scoring right now, he's definitely still having a extreme effect on this game.
Largest lead, 40-26. Maxey to the lane, pushes it up there. That rattled out, no good. Rebounded by Horford. So Horford and Robert Williams on the floor together as we started tonight. Smart, top of the arc, puts it down, drives on Maxey, turns those out to Horford up top. Hand it off to Tatum. Tatum working to his right, step back 3 over Embiid. Missed it. Still 1 point for Tatum. He's 0 for 6. Harden racing down the lane to the rack, lays it up and in. Caught. Boston flat-footed to make it 40-28.
Yeah, Jason Tatum retreating on that possession really had James Harden mercy while he's getting downhill.
So Harden's now 2 for 8 for 4 points. Brown trying to work around a left angle screen. Does. Gets to the rim. Reverse lay-in's good. That's how he gets around Joel Embiid to make it 42-28. Speaking of smart plays. Harden on the right angle, 6:50 to go in the half. Goes around the screen by Embiid, pushes it left side. Harris shot fake, jab step right foot. Works with Tucker on the left side, who sends it to Harden up top. Harden picks it up, bounce pass to Embiid. 4-3, right angle, too strong. Long, high rebound out for Tatum. So Embiid's having trouble getting going, too. He's 1 for 7. Brown bumps into Tucker near the top of the key. Crossover dribble, picks it up, shoots a scissoring 18-footer, no good. Robert Williams almost stole it back from Embiid, who rebounds. Long outlet pass to Harris. Layup blocked by Tatum at the rim. Loose ball for Horford. Boy, we've seen some excellent shot blocking tonight. Smart with a look off. Works down the lane and lays it in with the left hand. And a much-needed timeout for both sides here will be called by Philadelphia. It's ragged here in the second quarter. Turnovers, missed shots. The game remains the same, though, with Boston up by double digits.
But a smart play by Marcus Smart to increase the lead by 16.
Indeed. 6:08 to go here in the second quarter. Game 6. Chance for Philly to move on for the first time in 22 years. They're on the wrong end of it right now. Celtics 44, 76ers 28. You're listening to the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app presented by Indeed.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
To me, this is the season that Anthony Davis had to fully realize this is his team. Because that LeBron James has moments where he looks like the old LeBron James, but it ain't.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
You can listen or follow on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
How are you? My name is Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, relatable content.
It's fun.
It's just two bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one.
We're here.
Here we are.
The biggest names in sports are on ESPN Radio.
NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman.
I don't think our competitive balance is matched by any other sport, and making the playoffs is tough. And once you get in it, there's nothing like our playoffs, particularly the first round.
Luke Kennard, who's our guest here from the Grizzlies.
I'll look back whenever I'm done playing this beautiful game of basketball. I played against one of the greatest of all time.
Former Alabama defensive end, Will Anderson.
I think what I just bring to the game is like nobody else. You know what I'm saying? The mentality I have, the passion I have for the game. I put so much work in to be in this position, and I'm just ready for it to pay off.
Devon Witherspoon of the Seattle Seahawks.
What is the biggest thing that you've been told that you need to work on going into the next level?
There's a lot of the trash talking for real after the play. A lot of unnecessary trash talk.
The biggest names in sports come here. And it all starts weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. And continues all day. This is ESPN Radio.
Kevin Winter with you at our Granger studio. Our Game 6, not the only Game 6 tonight. In fact, there are going to be 3 more to come on the ESPN television networks. We'll have Lakers, Warriors tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern. Tonight on ESPN TV, Denver and Phoenix. Jamal Murray is questionable with an illness. DeAndre Ayton has been ruled out by the Phoenix Suns. They try to keep their season alive. Ayton is dealing with a rib contusion. Nuggets are in Phoenix, leading 3-2. As soon as our game is done in Philly, that game will start on ESPN television. Sean and Corey, back to you at a rather tense Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah, a little edgy here for Philly and their fans. Boston's hitting their threes. Philly's not hitting shots, period. That's a 28.6% right now. It's an 18-6 run for the Celtics. Again, playing in an elimination game just like they were a year ago at this time.
Outside of that 9-0 run for the Sixers in the first quarter, they really haven't been able to get any type of rhythm going offensively in the Celtics. 9 of 14 from 3. It's hard to beat anyone when they're shooting the basketball that well.
And Tatum only has 1 point. Here's Embiid, elbow left to the nail. To the broken line, throws it to Harden, corner right. Pop it out to Maxey, drive and kick to Tucker. Out of the left corner, drives to the rim. Puts it up off the glass and scores. Tough angle to use the bank shot.
Now, I have been watching a lot of basketball probably for the last 30, 35 years. I think that's the first time I've seen P.J. Tucker drive the corner and get all the way to the basket for a layup.
Brown for 3 straight away. Front iron no good. Rebounded by Harden. Sends it up ahead. Maxey, rhythm 3. Missed it off the left wing. One-arm rebound. Slips away from Horford, but Brogdon's got it for Boston. Smart is at the other end trying to fix his shoe. 4-on-5 here for the Celtics. Brogdon in the paint from the left side. Changes steps and then scoops it past Embiid for a layup at the rim.
Malcolm Brogdon doesn't need 5 guys on offense. Really, he can do it by himself as he get on that possession, taking on 2 Philadelphia defenders.
He has 13 to lead all scorers. It's 46-30 Boston.
By the way, wahoo wah.
Why did you wait that long?
I was waiting for you to ask first.
Sometimes I've learned not to exacerbate a situation.
Because you knew it was coming.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Foul stops play at 4:50 to go in the first half. No lead is safe. Okay. But a 16-point lead here by Boston. Surely changes their temperature coming into this ball game.
It also says that they have approached this game with the correct mindset. The Philadelphia 76ers have won 2 games in Boston. And I'm sure for the Boston Celtics and their faithful, that is embarrassing. So the only way you can remedy that is come to Philadelphia
and still 2 wins away in the city of brotherly love and force a Game 7 back on your home court where you can redeem yourself in front of your home fans.
Embiid knocks down 2 free throws on a Jaylen Brown foul to make it 46-32.
Should I say your home fans and Kevin Winter back in the studio?
Now you're complete.
There we go.
Yes. Tatum and the C's shot poorly from 3 in Game 5. They're sizzling here. Tatum spins, goes down the lane, missed a layup, trying to get around Harris. He's still over from the field. Harden walks down the lane, and a travel is called on James Harden, who took about 6 steps down the paint.
And Jason Tatum was about to get an easy bucket. He was about to be able to break the streak had the whistle not been blown.
That's right. They would have gotten the run out off the grab of the basketball. Here's Tatum, wing right for 3. Nope, he's 0 for 8 now. But yet, Boston leads 46-32. Maxey works it on the left sideline, gets deep left wing, walks back above the break with the right-hand dribble. Tatum's guarding him with some space. Over to Harden. Lob into double team. Embiid tried to tap it toward Tucker and missed him out of bounds, baseline right.
I'll tell you what, that was a high-level idea from Joel Embiid. Now, he was unable to execute it because he had 2 guys coming at him, but the fact that he was already thinking to pass that, knowing the double team was coming, that's high-level basketball IQ.
3:52 to go in the half. Brown drives the right slot, gets by Harris, lays it high off the glass, missed it, rebounded by Joel Embiid. The MVP sends it ahead to Harden. Harden cross over the dribble, goes to the rim, and tomahawk dunks it with the left hand. No. Went right by Marcus Smart and punched him.
Now that's old James Harden, not James Harden of old.
46-34. Crowd's back into it now. Brown picks it up, feeds Tatum, top of the arc. Drives on Tucker. Ball loose, saved by Brogdon, wing left. Drives to the nail, going left to right. Stops, turns away from Embiid, throws it out. Smart, almost a half-court 3 with the shot clock winding down, and that's woefully short and out of bounds, and that's a big stop defensively for Philadelphia.
It absolutely is, and that's where Philly was so special in Boston in Game 5, is on the defensive end of the floor, and that's really the first true possession we've seen that level defense here in this Game 6.
Harris goes to the bench for Philadelphia. And Melton has taken his place. Maxey will bring it across. Pauses between the circles. Bounce pass to Embiid. Pops out. Catches, turns, drives, and kicks. Tucker, corner right 3, rattled out.
And Boston helping off their strong side corner, conceding that 3 to P.J. Tucker, who's still upset about the fact that he missed out.
Smart slips the screen, catches in the lane, and shoots to score halfway down the paint.
Tell you what, Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon have had themselves a great first half thus far.
They have combined for 26. Harden left wing 3, short. Rebound off the fingertips of Brown and gathered by Melton, corner left for Philly. Dangerous pass up top, saved by Embiid. Embiid, left-hand dribble, fakes the crossover, rumbles down the lane and lays it in with the right hand. Rolled it off his fingertips against Horford. 48-36.
How can you stop a 7'2", 285-pound guy with a handle that can get to the rim and finish?
With a dump truck?
Or you can't. Either one. Dump truck, you can't. I think the dump truck would hurt a little more, so let's just go with you can't.
Fair enough. Timeout on the floor. We'll stop play here with 2:21 to go in the first half. Still a double-figure lead for Boston here in this elimination game. Celtics 48, Sixers 36. This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app presented by Indeed.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Jason Fitz.
Okay, I will relent. I can't stop the conversations about schedule release. Fine, you guys win, I lose. We can get all sorts of wild over it. But there's one thing we shouldn't do. The one thing in the next 24 hours you should not do with your favorite team schedule is pay any attention to strength of schedule. A year ago right now, we were sitting there saying the AFC West looks like it could be one of the greatest divisions of all time. Eerily similar to what we're saying about the AFC East. What turned out instead? Well, we all know that my beloved Raiders sucked. I had to live through that. The Broncos were an epic failure. The Chargers were who the Chargers were, and the Chiefs were who they were. All this time wasted sitting there looking at strength of schedule when realistically the thing that makes the NFL the best is that every single year the league flips around on its head. There's going to inevitably be a team this year that's not good that we think was going to be good. And inevitably, there's going to be a riser. We're going to have somebody come from out of nowhere. So right now, as thirsty as we are for football content, as desperate as we are to talk about the sport we love, maybe we shouldn't pay that much attention to the actual strength of schedule. Amazingly, even though I can't believe I'm saying this, realizing that strength of schedule doesn't really matter to any of this conversation, Vegas is right more than it's wrong. So the interesting thing is always just, does any of this cause movement on the overall win totals out of Vegas? I think the answer is going to be no. Now, certainly where your favorite team has a bye week and what it means for who they play, do they have to go to the East Coast or the West Coast? How do road trips look? Those are all things that adjust the fans' mindset. But if it doesn't adjust Vegas's mindset, just remind yourself, they don't build all of those mega resorts by accident. They do it because they're right more often than they're wrong. Maybe we should just calm down and just pay attention to them. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat from Fitz and Harry, I'm Jason Fitz.
Kevin Winter with you inside of Granger Studios. Coming up on the AutoZone Halftime Report, we're here from Sunset Coach Monty Williams on Jock Langdale getting the start in place of DeAndre Ayton, how DeAndre Ayton got hurt. Time now for Did You Know, brought to you by Geico. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Go to geico.com today. I feel like it's actually a 30 for 30. What if I told you the Celtics were to lead by 12 and Jason Tatum has 1 point in his 0 for 8 shooting? Did you know Tatum is the third player over the last 25 postseasons, Sean and Corey, to start 0 for 6 or worse in 3 straight games, joining Robert Covington and Shane Battier on a list you want to be on. Boston by 12. Back to you.
Look, Kevin and Corey, you played. I'm wondering, has he already forgotten about the 8 misses because he's Jason Tatum, or is it in his head a little bit right now?
It's absolutely in his head a little bit, and the reason I say that is because he's missing layups. Shots that are normally gimmies for Jason Tatum, but the thing is he's normally been able to recover from those and have great shooting efforts in second halves and really the second quarter on. So we'll see if that happens here in this one. But right now his team hasn't needed his offense.
Smart has been a part of the success here for Boston tonight. He gives it up to Tatum, top of the key, 5 to shoot. Lost the handle. Loose ball from Melton. Streaking Maxey catches, lays it up, no good, but he draws a foul.
But on the last possession, Jason Tatum catches the basketball pretty much at the free throw line. And DeAnthony Melton, he's got James Harden one-on-one, but DeAnthony Melton basically comes over and is another defender. At that point, Jason Tatum has to recognize he's done his job. He's drawn 2 defenders. He's got to move the basketball and allow his team to be able to play 4-on-3 on the backside because he's taken 2 players out defensively.
Maxey at the line to our right, knocks down the first. That's 2 fouls now on Jaylen Brown. And making contact with Maxey. And both free throws are good. So Maxey is into double figures with 12. Embiid's got 10. And the lead is 48-38 now for Boston. Boston's turned it over 9 times. Brown bumps into Harden. No call. Jump pass to Horford. Left angle 3. No good. Big rebound for Embiid. And Horford's 3-point shooting woes continue. Up the floor to Melton. Pump fake off the right wing. Trying to drive on Horford. Pulls it out. And resets to Harden just right at the center jump circle. Harden with the dunk here in the second quarter. We're told by Mike Martino, just his first dunk since October. Into the dunker spot. Tucker catches, refeeds Embiid, and he shoots to score right in front of the restricted area.
And right now, the Philadelphia 76ers getting this back to single digits, and their fans on their feet recognizing how important these last 2 minutes of the first half are.
1:02 to remain in the second quarter. Tatum turns, shoots, missed a tough look on Maxey. He was right up to him chest to chest. Maxey up the floor. Kicks it wing left for Harden. Philly has turned a 16-point deficit into half of that at 8. 9 to shoot. Harden walked it out toward the top of the floor. Drives on Horford. Kicks corner left. Tucker thought about a pass. Fires for 3. Missed it. Popcorn rebound. Out to half court. Smart's got it. Smart to the rack. Lay it up and scores with 2 defenders closing down.
And that was a great defensive rotation by Jason Tatum going into the passing lane, throwing off P.J. Tucker, who wanted to pass the basketball, forcing him to shoot it. An off-balance shot, and a long rebound leads to 2 points on the other end for Smart.
Up 10 now. Boston leads at 50-40. 7 to shoot, 14 to play in the half. Harden top of the arc. Crossover once, twice. Lost it between his legs. Regathers. Throws to Maxey. Wing right for three. Good to beat the shot clock buzzer. Maxey's got 5 field goals in the half. Leads Philly in scoring. Smart will let it roll toward half court. Picks it up near the left sideline. 5, 4. Smart splits 2. Throws out of the paint. Tatum for 3 up top. Off the mark. And fittingly, that's how Tatum ends the first half. Boston, though, leads by 7. Philadelphia, who trailed by 16, has cut it to 7. And this is cooking up to be quite a tasty little feast in quarters 3 and 4.
I believe it will be. If you're Boston, you go to the locker room saying, hey, we've done this without our best player getting going offensively. And if you're Philly, you simply say, we haven't played well, and we're only trailing by 7 on our home floor. We've got a great chance in the second half.
Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon have combined for 28 points to offset Tatum's 1 in the first half. Maxey with the 15, as we mentioned, to lead Philadelphia. Joel Embiid with 12 points, half of those coming at the free throw line. 2 more quarters to go. Don't you go anywhere. 50-43 at halftime. Boston leads here in Game 6. Let's send it to Kevin Winter in the studio with the AutoZone halftime report.
Sean and Corey, free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. To get in the zone, AutoZone, it's got that tense feeling like a Game 7, even though it's only Game 6. Boston won sub 16. Their lead is 7 going to the break, 50-43. Up next on the AutoZone halftime report, we'll look ahead to the back half of the ESPN television doubleheader when the Denver Nuggets look to close out the Phoenix Suns on the road. Not sure if Denver's going to have Jamal Murray. We know that Phoenix will not have DeAndre Ayton. We'll hear from Suns head coach Monty Williams. That's up next. Boston leading Philadelphia 50-43. The Celtics try to keep their season alive and force a Game 7. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
ESPN's Zuba Mahenti.
You know, at some point in 2023, India is going to pass China to become the world's most populous country. I'm going to give you a stat. I know sports are full of stats. There are more millennials living in India than there are people living in the United States. And it's really not even that close. The NBA has made huge inroads in India with development academies, but you haven't seen it much in the NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, or WTA. And with that number of people, almost 400 million millennials, and the success the NBA has had, it would be great to see those other professional sports leagues dip their toe into India, where the talent and the pipeline is definitely there.
ESPN Radio, celebrating and amplifying the stories of Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Asian athletes and sports figures.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Kevin Winter went to inside our Granger studios here on the AutoZone halftime report. Boston leads Philadelphia 50-43, but Harden and Embiid are a combined 6 from 19 for 18 points. Tatum and Brown are a combined 4 for 20 for 11 points. Boston was once up by 16, leads by 7. Philly's never led. The AutoZone halftime report brought to you by the makers of 5-Hour Energy. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com. Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander have our second half call from Wells Fargo Center coming up. Coming up next on ESPN Television, the back half of the conference semifinal, Game 6, Thursday night doubleheader. Denver goes into Phoenix, leading the series 3-2. The Suns will not have DeAndre Ayton in the lineup tonight, dealing with a rib contusion. Monty Williams, Phoenix's head coach, on how the injury happened.
It was in the last game.
He played the rest of the game, didn't he?
He was down on the ground for a while. If you're watching the game, he took a shot to the stomach and he was down for a minute. So he just, weathered it, and, it got progressively worse for him the last couple of days.
And now Jock Langell gets into the starting lineup for Monty Williams.
Different things when he runs the floor. One, securing the rebound, and then the ability to run the floor can put pressure on any defense, but sometimes it can make a smaller guy have to guard him. The ramifications of that are a number of things on the outside. And then when he gets the ball at the top of the key, he's quick to go downhill in the DHO, and it's just like a pick and roll. So he's been helpful in that area, and we're going to need it tonight.
And we'll see what happens. Jock Landale getting in the starting lineup earlier tonight. I asked Jalen Rose how important this game is for Devin Booker and Kevin Durant for the Phoenix Suns.
I think there's a lot of pressure because you don't bring Kevin Durant, a hired gun, somebody that's going to be in the Hall of Fame, one of the top scorers that the game has seen, to the team and not immediately have championship expectation, especially when you give up the kind of players that they gave up and the future draft capital that they gave up. It's unfortunate that Chris Paul is injured. Of the last 9 postseasons that his teams have been a part of, unfortunately, he's been injured in 5 of them.
Ugh.
So that does put a lot more pressure in KD. It does put a lot more pressure in Book. This is what they do. They're natural born scorers. The great thing about the NBA is great players can lift you to another level. Let's see if KD and Book can do that.
ESPN NBA analyst Jalen Rose joining us here on NBA Countdown. We'll get to the Celtics and the Sixers coming up, which is our game tip-off just after the bottom of the hour. Jalen, if Denver is able to close it out, especially, let's say Denver goes on the road and does it tonight, what does this say to you about this Denver Nuggets squad?
It's a character builder. Whether Murray's there or not, the Denver Nuggets have been one of those teams that have been one of the top 3 seeds in the conference the last couple of years. Joker has won 2 MVPs during that period. And by the way, he's been outstanding. The numbers that he puts up, the productivity that he has, the physicality that he plays with, the touch that he has, the ability to rebound, the ability to pass. He's just been outstanding these last few years. So I think it's just a graduation of everything they've accomplished over the last couple of years, and it'll say a lot about their infrastructure if the Nuggets are able to close the series out.
It is the second half of the ESPN television doubleheader. Jalen Rose joining me earlier on NBA Countdown. Denver and Phoenix coming up. Up next on the AutoZone Halftime Report. We'll get you set for half number 2. Boston trying to keep its season alive, up by 7. You're listening to the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now the pass goes inside to the dotted line. Wiggins turns, jump hook, yes, and 1.
The Warriors return home and survive a must-win Game 5. Now we head back to Los Angeles where they face a must-win once again. Will they survive? Game 6 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80. This weekend on ESPN Radio.
At the track, at the wall, good!
It's interleague action at Fenway Park.
Paul Goldschmidt goes yard.
Red Hot Paul Goldschmidt leads the St. Louis Cardinals into Boston to face Rafi Devers and the Red Sox.
Pitch is hit very well by Devers. Back. Good!
The Cardinals at the Red Sox. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app.
Friday on Fitz and Harry, we're reacting to the Sixers and Celtics as Philly looks to punch their ticket to the conference finals.
Plus, the Lakers are not the only home team in a must-win Friday.
Oh, Fitz and Harry Friday, noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and watch on the ESPN app.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now the pass goes inside to the dotted line. Wiggins turns, jump hook, yes, and 1.
The Warriors return home and survive a must-win Game 5. Now we head back to Los Angeles where they face a must-win once again. Will they survive? Game 6 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
The WNBA is back.
I got it in the bag.
This season's about super team expectations.
It's a really special opportunity. Things like this don't happen often.
Brittany Griner's emotional homecoming.
Griner throws it down.
And a shiny new rookie class.
The Indiana Fever select Aaliyah Boston.
The WNBA, we're all about it. Phoenix at LA, Friday, May 19th at 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Presented by Google.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
At the track, at the wall, goal!
It's interleague action at Fenway Park.
Paul Goldschmidt goes yard.
Red Hot Paul Goldschmidt leads the St. Louis Cardinals into Boston to face Raffy Devers and the Red Sox.
Pitch and tip very well by Devers. Back. Go!
The Cardinals at the Red Sox. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app.
How are you? My name is Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, relatable content. It's fun. It's just two bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one. We're here. Here we are.
As the Stanley Cup playoffs continue on ESPN, anything is possible. So the decorations could get a little out of hand. And a city could get a new landlord. Could a kraken arise? Could the storm surge? Could it happen for the first time? Could it happen again? Yeah, that could happen. That is playoff hockey. The Stanley Cup playoffs continue on ESPN.
The Hoop Collective Podcast.
Has that threshold been crossed where you say, hey, I'm not betting against Steph, even in a series against LeBron James?
No, I don't think LeBron can beat anybody under any circumstance. I would just say that if I'm going to make an error, I'm going to make an error believing in LeBron more than I'm going to make an error in not believing in him. And I stand by that.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts. You're listening to the NBA on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Trying to shoot, Harden walked it out toward the top of the floor. Drives on Horford, kicks corner left. Tucker thought about a pass, fires for three, missed it. Popcorn rebound, out to half court. Smart's got it. Smart to the rack, lay it up, and scores with two defenders closing down.
Marcus Smart, team high 15 for Boston. The Celtics trying to keep their season alive, lead by 7. A first half recap brought to you by the makers of 5-Hour Energy. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com. Second half in Philly is next. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app.
And ESPN Radio Extra Point with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Can LeBron give you a 40-point triple-double if needed?
I think it's way more reasonable in game 6 to get like a 35 and 18 game from AD. I think you can still get a high 20, almost triple-double from LeBron James. I think the days of LeBron James having 40-plus in a triple-double, I'm not sure we're going to see that game at this level right now.
I say if he needs to take over, I believe he can, Jay. At some point in the game, if he needs to take over.
I believe that too.
Take over in the fourth quarter. If he needs to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter, 100% he can, because he knows that it's all on him. And when you know as an athlete, Jay, when it's all on you and you got to perform at a certain level, you do it.
Coming up Friday, we'll recap both Game 6s and get you ready for Knicks and Heat, as well as Warriors and Lakers, which you'll hear on ESPN Radio. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
The Dominique Foxworth Show.
One simple question. Who is going to be the Rookie of the Year?
I think there are only 3 choices.
All right, so Bijan, Rice, and who's the third choice? C.J. Stroud?
Anthony Richardson, rushing for more than 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's obvious. As soon as I C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson jumped into my head.
Check out the Dominique Foxworth Show anywhere you get your podcast.
Digging deeper, we gotta stay cold.
The road to the ACC Softball Championship is on ACC Network.
Over the wall and gone!
a team that doesn't give up.
Live from South Bend, Indiana.
They get ready to play for a title.
The 2023 ACC Softball Championship, presented by Auto Owners Insurance, continues through semifinals on Friday at 1 and 3:30 Eastern on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app.
We're gonna strike gold.
This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
I'm Kevin Winter. That'll do it for us on the AutoZone halftime report. Boston by 7 as they try to keep their season alive. The headline is Jason Tatum, 1 point on a bagel from the floor. But if there is some solace, here's the list of players who've attempted at least 10 shots and didn't hit any in the first half of a playoff game since 1997. Tatum tonight, James Harden in 2019, and Michael Jordan was 0 for 11 in 1997. Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander, that's not a bad list to be part of.
Yeah, it's an interesting list. Some of those guys worked out pretty well.
If you're ever on a list with Michael Jordan,
Yes.
you make sure that you let everyone know that. So, yeah, I mean, again, Jason Tatum, of course, struggled. He missed easy layups, stuff that he normally makes, and you can tell he's definitely thinking about it. But I'm expecting to see a resurgence of his offense here in the second half.
So he has 1 point, yet Boston's up by 7, 50-43. I think if you're a Philly fan, you're saying to yourself, man, I can't believe we're within 7 the way the first half went. And Boston's sitting there going, with Tatum getting 1 point, I can't believe we're up 7. What do you make of this?
Well, one thing I look at is the fact that Boston's had a number of guys step up. We saw Marcus Smart get off to a great start early, knocking down the 3 ball, 3 of 5 from him, and then Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench. 3 threes for him. Derek White, 2 threes. So that's been the offense for the Boston Celtics. I mean, Jaylen Brown has played okay. He hasn't been great, but he does have 11 points on 4 of 10 from the field, but he's got 2 turnovers to go with his. So it's really been about the others, as, you know, the superstars like to say, the others stepping up and making plays. And just like Jason Tatum struggled to make shots, Al Horford's struggle has continued also.
These two franchises are a long time postseason enemies. Let's just be frank about this. Partners since 1981. 76ers are 1-7 in their last 8 clinching opportunities versus Boston. Do you think there's some uneasiness here after one half of play?
I believe there is some of that here simply because Boston's able to get off to a great start, but I think many of the Sixers fans will feel hopeful with their chances, especially the way Philadelphia came back.
Boston ball to start us up here in the third. We're ready to go, and the Seas will shoot to the end of our right. Robert Williams, who started the night, leads it for Brown, attacks from the right wing, goes up strong and scores, use the glass, and Boston now leads by 9.
And more impressive at who he scored that over top of is Joel Embiid, who's been blocking shots galore in the painted area.
Maxey, Embiid, Harris, Tucker, Harden for Philadelphia. Lob it into Embiid. Block left against Horford. Goes it up top to Harden. Wants to repost. Comes up high to the elbow to catch. Embiid faces the rim. Jab step right foot. 3 to shoot. Lost the handle quickly. Shoots over Horford. Air ball caught by Williams as the shot clock hits 0. Tatum will bring it up. Tatum works in the lane. Lobs underneath. Williams pogos back to the rim and got blocked. Harris got a hand on it. Harden, long outlet pass to a streaking Maxey, catching a layup is good. It was the perfect outlet from Harden.
Maxey, the only Sixer that crossed half court. We talked about his young legs and how they come in to help this team.
Tatum misses from 3 off the left wing. It was well contested. He's now 0 for 11. 52-45, Boston. Embiid catches top of the arc. Crossover through the left elbow. Bumps into Horford. Dumps it corner left. Tuck for 3. Good.
And you just mentioned, who was that sitting in the corner with their sweatshirt on backwards that continues to shoot that same corner 3? That was P.J. Tucker, who just knocked down a 3 from that exact spot.
Same spot. That's right. And a whistle indicated by David Guthrie, the lead official on the baseline. Calls a little hook foul here. And so Boston will have it sideline right as Harris picks up his first. 4-point game. Boston led by 16 earlier tonight. Smart takes the inbound. He's left to the top of the arc. Works around the Robert Williams screen, puts Maxey on his back, takes it down the lane, lobs to the rim, blind, dunk in on the alley-oop by Robert Williams.
And the second time Robert Williams has gotten that dunk, being a lob threat, really puts Joel Embiid in a predicament when he's having to guard pick and roll.
Williams with 6. Tucker left side 3. No, this time. Leaping rebound for Horford. 54-48. So Williams with 6. He'd averaged 4 points a game in this series in the prior 5 outings. He'll come out the screen. Front court left for Smart. Smart to the foul line. Lobs to the rim again. And thwarted by Embiid. Williams saves it going out of bounds to Tatum. Back underneath the Williams. Puts it up over his shoulder. He's fouled. Took a body shot from Joel Embiid. And free throws upcoming for Robert Williams at 9:35 to go in the third. Let's take the opportunity now and allow our stations to identify themselves. Let's pause 10 seconds for ID. This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
At the line and shoot. 2.
With Corey Alexander, I'm Sean Kelly. Paul Schrager's our engineer. Mike Martino, our producer on site. The NBA on ESPN Radio tonight from Philadelphia in the Wells Fargo Center. 9:35 to go in the third. 55-48. Boston leads it. And Robert Williams raises, shoots, and hits both of his free throws.
Robert Williams was a team high, game high, plus 17 and plus minus in the first half of that game. So the insertion of him into the starting lineup has been a great adjustment by Joe Mazzulla.
Here's Embiid, gets halfway down the lane. Pitch and catch with Tucker. Embiid now below the left foul line extended. Rumbles to his right. Tied up by multiple defenders. Ball loose. Tatum's got it. Ahead to Smart. Smart pirouettes. Finds a diving Horford. Catching a layup is good. What an assist for Marcus Smart, prompting a timeout to be called by Doc Rivers.
And Marcus Smart is showing his big game experience here on the road in Game 6.
15 points for Smart. 2 assists now on that dish there to Al Horford. We'll take a break. 9:10 to go in the third. Back to a double-digit lead for the visitors. Boston 58, Philadelphia 48. You're listening to the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
It can be stressful when unexpected expenses come up, but Dave can help. Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. No interest, late fees, or credit check. Join the millions of people who have downloaded Dave and get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. Download the Dave app right now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
You can't miss a moment with Greeny.
This is royalty. Do I bow? What does one do when the king comes to town? He chose us. And now I know what it's like to be the beautiful cheerleader. I've never been the beautiful cheerleader. I've never been the beautiful anything. The prettiest cheerleader is always the one who winds up with the quarterback, right? Especially when the quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know how to feel, but I'm going to have a really good time finding out.
Greeny, weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app. This weekend on ESPN Radio.
At the track, at the wall, good!
It's interleague action at Fenway Park.
Paul Goldschmidt goes yard.
Red Hot Paul Goldschmidt leads the St. Louis Cardinals into Boston to face Raffy Devers and the Red Sox.
Pitch and hit very well by Devers. Back. Good!
The Cardinals at the Red Sox. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
What about that tone makes me believe that Julius Randle is one of the leaders of this team? Maybe they wanted more. You're damn right they wanted it more.
Wake up and get up with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Greg in Virginia, you're on KJM.
Y'all have an awesome show. Listen every morning. J. Will, got a love-hate relationship with you, man. Hate to do it, dude. I love you now.
GJ and Max, weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Saturday, the stage is set. The XFL Championship. The underdog Arlington Renegades, led by quarterback Luis Perez, aim to pull off the major upset, while the DC Defenders and star running back Abram Smith look to power their way to the title. Renegades Defenders, the XFL Championship game. Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN+. Bring it in.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now the pass goes inside to the dotted line. Wiggins turns, jump hook, yes, and one.
The Warriors return home and survive a must-win Game 5. Now we head back to Los Angeles where they face a must-win once again. Will they survive? Game 6 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
Kevin Winter with you inside our Granger studio. Nuggets, Suns still to come. Jamal Murray, questionable. He has fallen ill. No DeAndre Ayton from Phoenix. Back half of the ESPN television doubleheader. Tomorrow night, Knicks, Heat in Miami. Game 6, Miami leads. Then we have Lakers, Warriors, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. This news just in. Andrew Wiggins listed as questionable with a left costal cartilage fracture. That is an area of the rib cage. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night as the Warriors try to keep their season alive. Go back to Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander, Boston by 10 over Philly. Guys, 29-22 in the first, 21-21 in the second. Does this feel like a Game 7 to you, not a Game 6?
Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, yes, because Doc Rivers had said to us earlier today that the focus had to be like Game 7 here in Game 6. And obviously Boston has to see it as a Game 7 or their season is done.
Yeah, both these teams had to approach this with a Game 7 mentality because if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you do not want to go back to Boston. Even though you won 2 games there, that is the reason why the Celtics have home court advantage and getting a higher seed. You don't want to have to play that Game 7 there. You want to finish this out here in your house.
Harden and the Sixers down 10 as resume play. Just rolled underneath the 9-minute mark here in the third. Harden crossover dribble. Pocket pass to Embiid. Pull-up jumper. Knocked it down from 13. And when he landed, he was a little gimpy on that knee. We'll keep an eye on that. 58-50. Embiid missed a lot of time with a knee injury about 3 weeks ago today. Tatum, crossover dribble, still looking for his first field goal. Goes in and gets one to go. Scooped it home with the right hand when Harris went down.
I believe that has to be the recipe for Jason Tatum. Attack the basket and find his teammates when he's double teamed, but more importantly, don't shoot the three.
Harden with a little hesitation and then okey-doked his way through the lane, draws contact. Continuation gives him a finish. He was grabbed here on the arm by Jaylen Brown. You got to be stronger than that.
Yeah, let me go back to that last point. Don't shoot the three. Don't settle for the three. Definitely take his three-point opportunities. Speaking of Jason Tatum, when he has them, but don't just settle for those. Stay in attack mode, getting to the rim, similar to the way James Harden was on that last possession, and now completes a three-point play.
Tatum came into the game averaging 27 points per game this postseason. He's got 3 on 1 of 12 from the field here in Game 6. Robert Williams flips it to his right. Smart trying to drive on Maxey, puts his back to him, turns into the lane, shoots on a fade, no good. Well defended.
That's 2 Dallas area guys going at it. Tyrese Maxey watched Marcus Smart growing up.
Embiid brought it up, flips it out to Maxey. He resets here to Harden on the 76 logo. Left the high screen by Embiid. Harden tried to hit a rolling Embiid through behind him. Ball's loose. Embiid dives and grabs it at the free throw line. Stripped though by Horford. Boston ball. Ahead to Jaylen Brown. Skids, falls, hit his left knee at the foul line. Stolen, an outlet pass back to the other end for Embiid for the easy lay-in, and Jaylen Brown is still down.
Yeah, that's the concern. Jaylen Brown still on the ground and is actually going to get up and be helped up. It looks to be okay, but he's talking about a wet spot on the floor as he's limping around. And the officials right now, of course, unable to call anything, even though with there being spillage on the floor.
Mark Horford catches sideline left, drive and kick to the top for Smart. Pump fake, drives and draws a foul on George Niang.
Jaylen Brown still checking that left knee. And he took a hard fall, trying to plant squarely on the knee. Hopefully that's just more of a contact injury, banging that knee on the floor.
Came right down on the kneecap after his legs went out from underneath him just above the free throw line to our right. And the officials just conferenced here, and James Harden's upset about something. Niang picked up his first. Smart to the line.
Jason Tatum over having a conversation with Jaylen Brown, checking on his All-NBA teammate. Those two guys named first team in Tatum and second team in Brown, respectively. An All-NBA yesterday, and well-deserving from both players.
Last time the Celtics had 2 All-NBA guys.
Ooh, trivia. Hit me.
Championship season under Doc Rivers, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce.
Can you believe that it has been 15 years?
No.
I meant to bring that up to Doc earlier today when we got a chance to talk to him. It seems like yesterday. It does not seem like 15 years ago that he was able to win a championship with the Boston Celtics.
Here's Harden down the lane, kicks it away from the color to Maxey, drives it to the nail, shoots and drops in a 15-footer. By the way, this is Doc Rivers' 214th postseason game as a head coach.
He's been around the block quite a while.
62-57 now. Boston's lead is 5. Was 10 at the last time out. Round on the right slot. Goes from under the rim to Horford. Swing into the corner. Tatum an open 3. Off back iron, no good. And a foul and a loose ball foul here called on the loose rebound.
But that's a good 3 from Jason Tatum. That was created by his teammates. Great ball movement. That's a 3 that he has to take. And if his team is going to win this game, that's going to be a 3 that he has to make.
Boston started red hot from 3. 8 of 11. They're now 9 of 21 from downtown. Big possession here for the home team. Down 5. Harden around the right angle screen from Embiid. Picks it up near the right elbow. Bounce pass to Embiid, wing right. Drives Horford to the block. Double team comes. Ball knocked loose. Loose ball for Marcus Smart, who just had committed the foul. Back it up to Horford. Repeat Smart straight away for a bomb. Front iron no good. Leaping rebound for Maxey. So no harm done off the turnover. Under 6 minutes to go. Maxey drives down the right side of the lane. Walled off by Jaylen Brown. Throws wing left. Niang for 3. No good.
This crowd was ready to erupt when Niang caught that, knowing he's a knockdown 3-point shooter.
Jaylen Brown drives the right side of the lane. Lays it up. Blocked by Embiid. Saved on a leap going out of bounds by Embiid. Shorthanded to the other end. Harden down the center of the lane. Throws corner left. Niang for 3. Oh, ho, ho. Timeout. Boston. They gave Niang another chance, and he about blows the lid off the Wells Fargo Center.
But it starts with the great defensive stand by Joel Embiid, not only coming up with the block shot, but the presence of mind to be able to save it inbounds to his teammate and starting the fast break.
What was a 16-point lead is down to 2. 5:29 to go in the third. Boston 62, Philadelphia 60. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Mike Tannenbaum. Packers were 8-9 and lost Aaron Rodgers. Better, worse, or the same this year?
I'm going to say better. I'm a big fan of Jordan Love. I think he's actually gotten better. And then you look at the draft, they got a number of weapons, from Musgrave to Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, another tight end. And now they have those 2 young receivers, Christian Watson, who was a second-round pick a year ago, and Romeo Doubs, a 4th-round pick. They're going to be better. So I think they can make the playoffs and actually be better than they were a year ago.
I think it's a better football team. Mike's right. I think when you add some of the players that they've gotten, but not only that, you're not asking Jordan Love to win the football game for you. You're not asking him to do the same thing that you may have asked Aaron Rodgers to do. You just don't want him to lose the game at this stage of his career. And I think they can run the football. They can dink and dunk and play defense solid and sound. That defensive unit got better toward the end of the season last year.
GJ and Max. Mornings on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Kevin Richard with you inside our Granger studio. Reminder, start your morning tomorrow morning. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. They're followed by Greeny with Mike Greenberg. They'll recap all the NBA playoff action tonight. Look ahead to the 2 Game 6s tomorrow. The Philadelphia 76ers trying to knock out the Boston Celtics have closed to within 2. Sean Kelly, Corey Alexander, as we go back to you at Wells Fargo Center. This is as close as Philly has been since it was 5-3. Back to you.
Yeah, it's only been one tie, Kevin. That was a 3-3. Right now in the third quarter, It's a 17-12 period in favor of Philadelphia.
And you have to love the response by the 76ers after giving up. We're going back to a 10-point lead for the Boston Celtics. Philly's done the job defensively. I think a very overrated defensive coaching job by Doc Rivers this season, as well as Joel Embiid and what he has meant to this team defensively. But nothing exemplifies that more than a block shot starting to break on the last possession.
It was 58-48, that moment that Corey talked to you about. It's now 62-60. Boston leading ball at the end to our right. Tatum, who's 1 for 13, has it front court left. Harassed by Niang as he brings it to the center circle. Works to the top of the arc. Crossover into the paint. Knocked loose. Stolen. Embiid's got the loose ball. Embiid brings it up. Right elbow. Peels off below the right foul line extended. Back to the color against Horford. Reaches into him. Shoots. Missed it from 4 feet. Horford picks up the foul, though, and Joel Embiid is going to the free throw line for attempts 7 and 8.
And all Al Horford can do about that one is simply smile, because Joel Embiid went vintage James Harden, extending the arms, forcing the contact across, getting the shot up, and getting to the free throw line.
The chance rising again here in Philly, and he just kind of body languaged that one through the hole. First free throw down. Earlier tonight, when Boston held a double-digit lead, we noted Tatum being 1 for or 0 for, and it didn't seem to be a problem. If Boston loses this game, they're going to look at Tatum's shooting tonight as a problem.
They absolutely will look at that as a problem, if it doesn't change, and change in a hurry for the Boston Celtics, considering that this game now starts over, reset at 62-62.
Our second tie of the game. Embiid's got 18. Brogdon top of the arc. Crossover dribble. Down the lane. Gets around Niang. Scoop shot missed at the rim. 12-2 run right now for Philly. Harden down the lane. Reached through Smart. Drew the contact as he got below the free throw line.
When you say reach through Smart, you mean a smart play by Harden, or the fact that he was actually reaching through Marcus Smart? Which one did you mean this?
Well, it was the old James Harden razor wire. Don't reach in there when he does that.
Okay. See,
I didn't answer your question.
The correct answer for my question would have been both. See, had you said both, that would have been the correct answer to that question. I gave you a chance. I threw the lob up. You missed it, my man.
C's get degrees, Coach.
I will be sure to pass that on to all my young people.
First lead of the night for Philadelphia as Harden knocks down the free throw. It's 63-62. Now, again, these rivals have met so many times in the playoffs. Only 2 times has the Philadelphia franchise treated their fans to a clinching win over Boston here in the city of brotherly love. The last time, 1977. Everybody's on their feet. Horford, top of the arc. Dribbles to his left. Throws it past one teammate. It's Brown off the catch. Drives for the goal. Out to White. And buries a clutch 3 here to silence the crowd momentarily.
You know what's amazing is the fact that Jason Tatum is 1 of 13 from the field. But when Jaylen Brown went baseline, 2 Philadelphia 76ers defenders went with Tatum and left White wide open. That's how much they don't want Jason Tatum to get going.
Harden throws the maxi. Angle left 3. Front iron no good. Rebounded by Al Horford. So Horford with 7 rebounds now. Derek White, who plays off the bench tonight, gives it up to Brogdon, who's been dynamite. That's knocked loose by Harden. Numbers. Maxi racing the other end. Lays it up and in. He went left to right. A little double pumper and 2 more for Philadelphia to retake the lead.
And the second time we've seen Tyrese Maxey go from defense to offense and finish quickly, showing off those youthful legs, getting down the floor before any Boston defender.
21 points for Maxey. Pass underneath the Brogdon. Well defended. Has to throw it out to Horford at the top. Spins, drives off Harden. Back to Brogdon. Wing right 3. Off the iron and rebounded by Embiid.
And Embiid making sure that Boston is 1 and done on the offensive end of the floor, giving up no offensive rebound opportunities.
Boston has 2 second chance points. Harden, right front court around the Embiid screen. Throws corner right. Maxey for 3. Rattled out. No good. Rebounded by Brogdon, who's got 13 off the bench. Bench numbers heavily favoring Boston because of Malcolm Brogdon tonight. Right over the screen to the top of the floor. Pitches back on a popping Horford. Handed off to Brogdon. Refeed White up top. 3 ball too strong. Long rebound out above the arc, grabbed by Maxey. He'll bring it across himself. Sends it wing left to Niang. Dump it inside, and the help defender Tatum comes over and deflects it out of bounds off the left lower post.
Great read defensively by Jason Tatum there as Joel Embiid had Horford in a bad position. But Tatum coming along that baseline deflects the basketball. Now Horford will get a break as Robert Williams comes in to battle with Embiid probably for the remainder of this third quarter.
2:38 on the clock here in the period. Williams returns with 8 points, 5 rebounds, getting the start here tonight. Inbound finds DeAnthony Melton, and he'll send it out to Embiid along the left sideline. Embiid draws Robert Williams now as they switch defensively. Throw up top to Maxey, drives, goes down the lane. Forced through contact, missed a layup. Rebound Philly, over to Niang. Wing right three. 69-65, Philadelphia. 2:10 to go. Diving down the lane, Tatum fumbled it, pushed off Harris. The steal for Philadelphia. Philly trailed by 7 to start the quarter. Up 4. Around the high middle screen. Maxey chased by Brogdon, gives it up to Embiid. Embiid into the paint. Pump fake. Refeeds Maxey. Top of the arc down the lane. Floater no good. Front iron. Cleared by Boston. 2-on-2. Brown down the lane. Fouled by George Niang. Whacked him across the arms, and Jaylen Brown will go to the line at the end to our right. Can Brown be a factor in the second half tonight? His touches and attempts have severely dropped off after first half play in this series.
Well, the reason for that is Jaylen Brown's not a guy that really creates his own shot. He's more of a guy that's a receiver more so than he is a playmaker. So he often has to rely on great ball movement, great pace from his team offensively for him to be able to benefit in the scoring column.
Brown misses the front end.
And we have to go back and think about the free throw shooting for Jaylen Brown throughout this playoff series absolutely has not been great. 3 for 8 in game 4, I believe, which was a close game lost by the Celtics.
66% this postseason. Second free throw. Good. 3-point game. Philly leads at 69-66. Both Brown and Tatum have averaged 25 points or better this postseason. The last Celtics duo to do that in a postseason, John Havlicek and Sam Jones in 1966-67.
That's great company to be in.
1:35 to go in the period. Harden around the high middle screen. Behind the back, bounce pass to Embiid. He popped, catches, pump fake, down the lane, and finished on the smaller Derek White. So Embiid now is 20 points, 8 rebounds, and multiple block shots.
And Robert Williams bit on the pump fake, allowing Embiid to get an easy run once again.
Brown through traffic to the rim, lays it in with a foul.
There you go, Jaylen Brown now attacking the basket, getting it going offensively. You talked about him being aggressive, and he is a very good straight line driver and gets a straight line to the rim on that one, picking up the contact, the foul, and the bucket.
The foul's on Embiid. It's his third. They called a blocking foul on him. Doc Rivers is arguing a man was in place. Legal guarding position outside the restricted area.
Well, the bigger concern was the fact that Embiid did not get the call on the other end. When he did make the layup, he wanted the foul on Derek White, so he doesn't want Jaylen Brown getting the calls that he does not get it because, of course, he's the MVP.
Certain rewards.
Membership has its privileges. I wouldn't know personally, but I've seen a lot of MVP calls in my day.
All the meats and cheeses. 2-point lead for Philly. Embiid's on the bench. Harden dumps underneath. Little pump fake, and then a reverse lay-in missed by Reed. Paul Reed's first run of the game. He was hiding in the dunker spot.
Whoa.
Boston got away with a turnover there. They find Derek White up top. Drives the lane. Tied up. Stolen by Harris. Loose ball for Niang. Outlet pass to Harden. Harden top of the arc. Foul line. Right to the rack. Lays it up. Too strong. He got hit. No whistle. Boston clears it. Brogdon out to Smart. Back to Brogdon top of the arc. Puts it on the wood for Harris. And then Harris backpedaling ties him up and drags the ball out of his hands but out of bounds. It'll stay with Boston, but it took away a Harris potential layup.
You've got to give Tobias Harris a lot of credit for the job defensively he's done on Jason Tatum, on Jaylen Brown. that possession right there on Malcolm Brogdon stripping the basketball, but he's had a strong defensive series against the Celtics.
27.5 seconds left in the quarter. Lob into Williams, sideline right. Hands it to Marcus Smart, who pulled the trigger on the play. Smart into the lane, hangs in the air. Lobs into the rim with the left hand and a dunk with the right on Robert Williams' third alley-oop finish.
Not sure if it was meant to be a lob, but it worked out perfectly for Marcus Smart.
71-71. Here we go. Shot clock is dark. 10 seconds remaining in the period. Harden between the circles. Trying to get a screen here from Niang. Goes left of it. Brown chases him. Harden to the paint. Freezes. Shoots into contact. Fouled at the left elbow.
When it's all said and done, James Harden will go down as one of the most crafty players to ever have played this game. He set Jaylen Brown up the entire possession, going hard to his left, the step back, the pump fake, and getting Jaylen Brown in the air, the contact, and now an opportunity at the free throw line to take a 2-point lead here with 1.6 remaining in the third.
Philly has not had a lead at the end of any quarter so far tonight. First free throw is good, 72-71. During the regular season, Philly was 40-3 when leading at the end of the third. They're 5-0 this postseason in the same position. James Harden, perfect at the line so far tonight. 4 for 4, 12 points, 8 dimes, 4 rebounds. And the lefty hits both free throws. And a 2-point lead is for Philly. Some pressure here into Smart. Smart from the top of the key at one end. Just missed wide right at the other. That was pretty good from that amount of acreage in front of him. Nonetheless, Philadelphia, who trailed by 7 at the start of the quarter, leads by 2 going to the fourth.
And went down by 10 in the third and then got it going because of their defense. Strong defensive quarter by the 76ers allowed to take a 2-point lead.
End of the third quarter in Philadelphia. 76ers 73, Celtics 71. This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
We just don't see the efficiency from the perimeter like we see from Devin Booker. If we're just talking about the last 2 games, he shot 77.8% with 36 points. In the game before that, he was 20 of 25 and 80% with 47 points. That's unheard of. When you put the work in and you love what you do, you won't be denied.
Fitz and Harry, weekdays at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Yo, check this out from Canty and Carlin.
I am really upset that Peter King just so summarily dismissed my fry take. ESPN NFL reporter Jeremy Fowler joins us.
I like it when you're triggered, Chris. So we need more of that.
I get upset about things that I shouldn't get upset about. Peter is responsible for me meeting my wife.
And let me talk about where you got married.
In a pizzeria.
Exactly. We're passionate about sports and we're passionate about food.
It's a marinara sauce love story.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
One simple question. Who is going to be the rookie of the year?
I think there are only 3 choices.
All right, so Bijan, Rice, and who's the third choice?
Check out the Dominique Foxworth Show, anywhere you get your podcast.
How are you? My name's Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, you know, relatable content. It's fun. It's just 2 bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one.
We're here.
Here we are.
Kevin Winter with you in our Granger studio. The Sixers are 12 minutes from the conference finals.
1:35 to go in the period. Harden around the high middle screen. Behind the back, bounce past Embiid. He popped, catches, pump fake, down the lane, and finished on the smaller Derek White.
21-9 run at one point. Philadelphia has flipped the 16-point deficit. They go to the fourth, leading by 2, 73-71. And from Boston, their best player is on the side of a milk carton. Back to Sean Kelly and Corey Alexander at the Wells Fargo Center.
Corey's going to need a minute. He's laughing at what Kevin just said, but to the point there, Tatum is 1 of 13, 0 for 6 from downtown, 3 points in the ball game. Both teams aren't shooting very well. But yet, it's been wildly entertaining, and Philadelphia has this 2-point lead going to the final 12.
But I also know how big of a Boston fan that Kevin Winter is. And so when he says someone is on the side of a milk carton, he absolutely means it. And he is imploring Jason Tatum to get it going here in this fourth quarter.
Let's just say the language on the air is much more kind than off the air right now for Kevin Winter. Harden's three straight away, rattles out. Reed can't get it for Philly. And now Boston gets their first touch. Shooting at the end of our right here, early fourth quarter. They'll start the fourth with Brogdon on the floor. Why not? He's got 13 points. Brogdon angle left. Hits Tatum, who slides away from a screen opportunity. Bump up into the lane. Turns into Harris. And shoots to draw a contact and a foul. Look, you mentioned earlier the thing Tatum can do is start going downhill. And he clearly knew that he had a chance to get to the line here against Harris.
Well, that was by design. Joe Mazzulla made sure that he drew that up for Jason Tatum to get the basketball in a scoring position. Tatum deciding to back down Melton on that possession, extending the arms to get the foul and get to the free throw line. And seeing the ball go through normally helps elite level scorers when they're struggling. Jason Tatum gets to see it go through twice at the free throw line. We'll see if that allows him to get it going offensively here in this fourth quarter.
He ties the ball game at 73 with a pair of made free throws. So a brand new ball game with 11:18 to go in game 6. Harden works the dribble to the top of the arc. Chest pass to his right. Nice drive to the rim. House stripped, though, in the color. Smart may have knocked it loose. Brogdon sends it ahead. Finds Tatum right of the rim. Turns to the rim. Missed it point blank with the left hand. Rebound, though, for Boston. Smart lobs deep for Williams. Block right. Goes away from Reed. Reset to Smart. Front court right. 6 on the shot clock. Robert Williams screens, rolls. The spinning bounce pass. Tip stolen by Philly. Collision in the other end. Brogdon with incidental contact. Bumped into House. And gets it back for Boston. Bounce pass way right. Brogdon drives across the lane, and a drop pass is kicked like a field goal 8 rows deep on the sideline opposite us.
And on the last possession that Marcus Smart ended up turning it over, Jason Tatum was pointing to throw the basketball to the opposite wing so he could catch it in the post against Tobias Harris, imploring his teammates to get him the basketball on that possession. Smart goes another direction, ends up being a turnover. Fortunately for the Celtics, the Sixers unable to capitalize.
Still no Joel Embiid, but Maxi's return replacing House. 6 to shoot. Tatum, same play. Left side of the lane, drives across, leaves for Smart. Attacks the cup. Fouled right at the rim.
But I love what Jason Tatum did there. He attracted the attention of the defense, got through the double team, and kicks it to Marcus Smart. Again, I've been in the situations like this where I was struggling from the floor before. And the human nature is to think about yourself and how you can get yourself going. But at this stage in the fourth quarter of game 6, where your team is on the brink of elimination, Jason Tatum has to continue to think about what's best for the team, and that's what he did on that possession.
Foul on Paul Reed puts Marcus Smart at the line to our right. And look, also, you being in the position that you've been in this league, you know that with 10:25 to go, Jason Tatum can still have an impact here and send this to Boston for Sunday.
He absolutely has it. We've seen Jason Tatum go off in short stints and put up huge numbers. So at any point, he can get it going. But Philly knows that as well. They're going to do everything they can to keep him from being the guy that beats him.
Second free throw is good for Marcus Smart. Boston back on top, up by 1, 74-73. Embiid back on the floor for Philly. Maxey turns off the left wing, feeds Embiid, left angle. Dribble handoff back to Maxey, who dribbles to the top of the arc. Bounce pass to Embiid. Horford gives him a little room. Embiid works to the edge of the paint, through the mid-post. Turnaround jumper on a fade. That's pure. Joel Embiid's got 22 points.
That is almost unfair that a man that size with that much skill can make shots like that. I mean, he is the closest thing that we've ever seen to Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh, that's a high comparison. Ball shoveled out of the lane by Williams to Marcus Smart. Smart to the right side of the lane. Floats it off the high glass and in.
Where would the Celtics be without Marcus Smart in this game? I mean, he got it started for the Celtics and coming back and making a big shot to give him a 1-point lead.
Smart's the leading scorer right now. 20 points for Boston. And the C's up by 1. Harden North work between the rings. Bounce pass to Embiid, left to the tip of the circle. Quick pass to Melton, corner left three. Long, and Smart taps it to Horford. Second chance points are like rare diamonds tonight. Smart into the paint. 2-foot jump stop. Spin throws out to Brogdon. Tried to throw inside. And it's Embiid stepping in front of Williams to knock it off Williams and out of bounds. What a play. 16 Boston turnover.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The turnovers have hurt the Celtics as well. So even though they're not shooting great, they have given up so many opportunities not getting quality shots in the offensive end.
On the high middle screen, Harden pushes it. Wing right, 3-ball Melton short. One-hand rebound for Williams. To Smart, ahead to Tatum. Jump pass to a trail, to a blind, and Harden steals it at half court. Tatum passed up a three, thought he was going to get swatted and try to jump pass out to somebody.
But he would have been much better served attacking the basket, forcing Embiid to foul him or dribbling it back out.
Embiid elbow left against Brogdon. Left-hand bounce, gets a little closer. Changes the broken line, shoots off 1 foot and knocked it down. He tried 3 different things there and finally scores. Philly's up by 1.
Well, Malcolm Brogdon's a very good defender, but undersized in that situation. Tough matchup for him having to defend Embiid.
8:05 to go in the fourth. Tatum, left side of the lane. Throws around the defender to Smart. Corner right three, no good. It was on time, on target. Smart was wide open, just couldn't connect.
Wondering why Jaylen Brown has sat so long. Now Joe Mazzulla getting him back into the game. I believe Marcus Smart needs a break.
Into the left corner. Melton for three. No. Rebounded by Tatum. Out to Smart. Smart will slow up, top of the arc. To Brogdon, left side three. Good. What a shot. Boston leads by 2, 79-77.
Big bucket, and right now Marcus Smart needs a break. He has been getting the job done. I don't believe he sat here in this second half. And Jaylen Brown at the scores table trying to get him, but Smart's got to continue to do it defensively.
Brogdon's got 16 points, 4 3-pointers. Harden, top of the arc, to the free throw line, sends it corner right. Maxey drives and dunks with 2 hands from the corner. Timeout, Boston. If anything, that's to get Smart out of the game, I think, at this point.
I believe it is to just get him a blow. He's going to be important for the C's down the stretch. And we've got a game, my friend, 79-79, 7:10 remaining in the fourth quarter of an elimination game for the Boston Celtics.
This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
Have you seen the cost of eggs lately? With these prices, we'd barely be scraping by if it weren't for Dave. It's the banking app that advances us up to $500 instantly. There's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. No joke. You can get extra cash for anything your family needs. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC.
The biggest names in sports are on ESPN Radio.
NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman.
I don't think our competitive balance is matched by any other sport, and making the playoffs is tough. And once you get in it, there's nothing like our playoffs, particularly the first round.
Luke Kennard, who's our guest here from the Grizzlies. I'll look back whenever I'm done playing this beautiful game of basketball. I played against one of the greatest of all time.
Former Alabama defensive end, Will Anderson.
I think what I just bring to the game is like nobody else. You know what I'm saying? The mentality I have, the passion I have for the game. I put so much work in to be in this position, and I'm just ready for it to pay off.
Devon Witherspoon of the Seattle Seahawks.
What is the biggest thing that you've been told that you need to work on going into the next level?
There's a lot of the trash talking for real after the play. A lot of unnecessary trash talk.
The biggest names in sports come here. And it all starts weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, and continues all day. This is ESPN Radio. The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now the pass goes inside to the dotted line. Wiggins turns, jump hook, yes, and one.
The Warriors return home and survive a must-win Game 5. Now we head back to Los Angeles where they face a must-win once again. Will they survive? Game 6 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on Sirius XM Channel 80.
Kevin Winter with you inside of Granger Studio. Reminder, tomorrow night, Game 6, Lakers-Warriors. That'll be the fourth and final Game 6 here in round 2. Denver-Phoenix coming up. No DeAndre Ayton. Jamal Murray is in the starting lineup for the Nuggets. We try to knock out the Suns on their own home court. That game's on ESPN television. As for our game...
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, 7:10 to go. We're tied at 79. Sean and Corey, I leave it to you.
That's it, kid. He's losing it.
That's it.
I think he has finally lost it in the studio. Kevin Winter, you got a whole other game to go tonight, my man. Don't lose it on us yet.
He already ripped his shirt off.
Yes.
It's something that we didn't really want to see in our camera, but
I love it.
79-79. Philly trying to go to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 22 years. Boston, who had 57 wins in the regular season, trying to stay alive and force Game 7 on Sunday in the jungle in Beantown. Jaylen Brown has returned for Boston. They have the ball coming out of their own timeout.
And Marcus Smart back onto the floor, so the timeout was enough rest for him. Joe Mazzulla making sure the guy who's been his best player here tonight stays in the fourth quarter.
Tatum over to Brogdon, left side three, no good. Tip by Smart, almost went in. Rebound for Joel Embiid. Outlet pass ahead to Harden. Philadelphia in the royal blue tonight, shooting at the end of our left. Feed Embiid, elbow left. Down the left slot. Pump fake once, twice. Shoots, missed it point blank against Horford. Tatum racing to the other end with the rebound. Steps around Harden, lays it up. They're going to count it.
Yeah, that has to be goaltending.
It's got to be goaltending, right? And a foul.
He got that on the glass first, so it will count as a field goal made for Jason Tatum. Or will it not?
Curtis Blair just said 2 free throws.
Yes, and when you see the replay, it actually did not hit the glass first. So that's a great block, getting back by Tyrese Maxey. The foul on Harden, but the ball goes straight up. From our initial angle, it looked like it hit the glass, but that's the right call. And a great hustle by Tyrese Maxey to get back down there and block that shot.
You know you're going to agree with this. But there's a difference between watching an NBA game on television and watching it live, right?
1,000%.
Whenever I see Maxey live, I'm reminded how fast that dude is.
Oh, he's a jet. I mean, how many times have I talked about the young legs? And again, he is an absolute jet on the floor. And he covered a lot of ground to come up, and it saved this team a point. That would have been a 3-point play for Jason Tatum, and each and every point in this game becomes important.
2 made field goals by Tatum. Boston leads by 2. Embiid, pull-up jumper, left side of the lane. Knocked it down right at the mid-post. Joel Embiid is 9 of 17, has 26 to lead all scorers.
But he is feeling it here in this second half. Not just what he's doing offensively, but defensively as well.
Half a quarter to go. Tied at 81. Ball knocked loose by Maxey. And on the way to the other end, above the top of the arc, a foul is called.
It has to be a clear path foul. It's got to be a take foul, especially when you consider the foul that was called at the beginning of this game. This one has to be a take foul, Sean.
Officials conferencing at the edge of the center jump circle. David Guthrie's the crew chief tonight. That turnover is the 18th of the game for Boston. Their most in any of the postseason games so far this year. They're going to take a look.
Jason Tatum knew as soon as he did it that it was going to be a take foul.
The floor is a transition take foul. The play will now be reviewed to see if it meets the criteria for a clear path foul.
Good explanation from the crew chief, who now will don the headset and talk to Eric Lewis in the replay center in Secaucus.
I'm not even sure why they're even going over to look at this. It absolutely is a take foul. This is the clear explanation of the rule, which, of course, they put up on the Jumbotron here at the Wells Fargo Center for each and every one of the fans to read. And as they play Tell Me Something Good, because they know it's going to be good news coming out of this huddle from the officials when they come out, put both arms out to the side with fist balled up, saying it was a take foul.
There's about 4 or 5 keys or the criteria for this.
After replay review, the play is a clear path foul. Because it was a transition take foul, any player can shoot the 2 shots.
So they get to pick the shooter, obviously, in this case, Philadelphia. But one of those is, look, one of the bullet points for clear path, opposition denied an opportunity for a transition bucket. That's clearly here. Now, there are other things like where did it start, how many defenders, but that's a transition bucket and more points off turnover, no doubt.
And that has hurt the Boston Celtics in this game. Most of their turnovers have been live ball turnovers that have turned into points on the other end of the floor for the Sixers.
Joel Embiid's the shooter, knocks down the first, 82-81, Philly.
How often do you see the 7'2" center being the guy that shoots the free throws when anyone can shoot?
Only when I'm doing a game with you and Philadelphia is involved.
There you go.
Okay.
But I have to be here for it, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, a lot of criteria for different things to be triggered.
You know what?
Yes.
You make a very strong point there, Sean Kelly.
Both free throws good, 2-point lead. That's 18 points now scored by Philadelphia off of the 18 turnovers. Maxey is now one of 3 Philly players with 3 steals in the game. So with the ball in the lead, it's James Harden. Picks it up, leaves for Embiid, wing left. Faces up on Horford. Jab step right foot. Puts it down on the floor. Backs him into lane. Turns right hook. Couldn't get the members bounce. Comes off the iron, cleared by Robert Williams. Ahead to Tatum. Lob it for Smart. Spins wing right. Gets under the goal. Throws quarter left to Brown. Rip through move. Drive and bounce to Horford. Top of the arc. Down the lane. Leaves underneath for Williams. Hiding. His shot blocked by Embiid, going out of bounds. He got airborne under the rim. It slipped for a moment and allowed Embiid to swat it into row 2.
And look at the ground that Joel Embiid makes up, and they're going to change the call. I believe it, forgive me, Doc Rivers is going to challenge that because he feels as though that went off of Robert Williams, and it absolutely did. And the Philadelphia 76ers are going to win this challenge.
The ruling on the floor is Boston basketball. Philadelphia's called timeout and challenge.
There it is. The review is underway. We'll take a break while they take a look at it. Only 5:25 remains in the fourth quarter, and Philadelphia, trying to get this series done and over with tonight, is up by 2. 83-81. Philadelphia leading Boston. This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Indeed.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
At the track, at the wall, good!
It's interleague action at Fenway Park.
Paul Goldschmidt goes yard.
Red Hot Paul Goldschmidt leads the St. Louis Cardinals into Boston to face Raffy Devers and the Red Sox.
Pitch is hit very well by Devers. Back.
The Cardinals at the Red Sox. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app. Greeny.
He could own this town, and he knows it. I can't imagine there's anything better in sports. Owning New York is unlike anything, and he's got a chance.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Friday, we'll recap both Game 6s and get you ready for Knicks and Heat as well as Warriors and Lakers, which you'll hear on ESPN Radio. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny.
With Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, we saw kind of a few different versions of Rodgers. It'll be interesting to me to see what it looks like with Nathaniel Hackett in New York, with Garrett Wilson. Okay, offensive line. There's no doubt in my mind that it will be better than what we saw last year, but I think there's reasonable questions just of how much better it will be and what it will look like.
Listen and subscribe to The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, I'm Rodeo Clown JJ Harrison. Now, if you've ever seen me in the arena, you know I like to have fun, take chances. But I also take safety very seriously because rodeo clowning can be dangerous, but so can farming and ranching. Never assume location of depth of underground utilities or pipelines. Before you start work, always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com. It only takes a minute and it can save your life.
Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
Kevin Winter with you inside our Granger studio. Thank all of you who logged on to our Twitter account at the AutoZone poll question to vote on our Twitter account at NBA on ESPN Radio. 57% of you said Joel Embiid would be the player to get in the zone tonight. He certainly has in the second half. Embiid's got 28. The Sixers lead 83-81. More importantly, or more impressively rather, Philadelphia has outscored Boston 40-31 in the second half. With 5 to go, Boston has 31 points. Philly only has 40. but they're holding the Celtics to 31. Sean and Corey, back to you for the final 5 and change with Philly ball.
All right, Kevin, thank you. 10 rebounds for Embiid as well. It's his 40th double-double of the year, regular season and postseason combined. He also has 10 points at the free throw line for the 4th straight game. Philadelphia, length of the floor to go with the ball in the lead, 83-81 with 5:25 to play.
Sean, if you look back to a season ago when the Boston Celtics lost in the NBA Finals, what truly ended up being the thing that broke their back was turnovers. And if they lose this game here in Game 6 and are eliminated from the playoffs, turnovers will be the reason. 18 points scored off of 18 turnovers for the Philadelphia 76ers, who are shooting 39.2% from the floor, but have 6 more field goal attempts than do the Boston Celtics, and 1 more free throw, where the 76ers are perfect from the line, 17 of 17. And it's the small plays. Doc Rivers talked to us earlier today about it being one play that makes a difference.
And now Doc Rivers is at the table along with Joe Mazzulla with the crew chief. We already heard the result of the Doc Rivers challenge, which was whether or not the ball out of bounds belonged to Philly or Boston. The call on the floor was overturned. The challenge was successful. It'll be Philadelphia ball. But now David Guthrie had to call both head coaches over, got back on the headset with the replay center, and may have a clarifying announcement here for us in a moment.
So since the clear path happened on Tyrese Maxey, he has to shoot the 2 foul shots. So they're going to take 2 off the board.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Now that you're talking about
Hold
a
on.
play that happened minutes ago.
Yes.
In game action, they're going to take the 2 points off the board from Joel Embiid making the free throws.
It was turned into a clear path.
Clear path take foul. But it was announced because it was a clear path, anyone on the floor could shoot them.
Maxey was the one that was fouled. They chose Embiid to shoot. He hit both free throws. So now they're going to correct the situation. Maxey's hit the first free throw and 1 more to go. If he hits the second free throw, we're right where we should be at 83-81. And he did.
So now I can say that the Philadelphia 76ers are 17 of 17 from the free throw line, because clearly the 2 prior that Joel Embiid made didn't count. So now 2 points are removed. Joel Embiid has 26 points, and Tyrese Maxey is now up to 25.
Correct.
Okay. I was confused, so I was just really speaking out loud to make sure I had that correct.
You got to work through it, partner.
I've never seen anything like that before.
83-81. Harden shoves it over to Maxey. Pump fake wing left. Drive and kick to Niang out of the corner. Closed out by Smart. Resets back out to Maxey. Maxey freezes. Step back 3 wing left. Missed it. Jaylen Brown stayed with him and did not foul. Boston brings it up down by 2. Smart down the right side of the lane. Gets under the goal deep. Goes out of a double to Horford. Angle right 3. No. Horford's 3-point shot has eluded him here now in the last couple of games of this series.
Yeah, Horford has joined Jason Tatum in those struggles shooting the basketball, and no one wants to win this game more than Al Horford, who was a Sixer for a season.
Harden catches at the center jump circle. Draws Smart defensively as he walks through the top of the arc. Deep 3 on the step back. No good. Rebounded by Boston. Ball's not lost here for the Celtics. 4:24 to go. Just down 2. Brown sends it dangerously to his left. Brogdon quickly bounces to Tatum. Sideline left 3. Good. First 3-pointer knocked down by Tatum in front of his own bench with Embiid in his face.
You know the mental makeup you have to be 1 of 14 and make that shot at this point of the game?
What does Bill Raftery say?
Onions.
Jumper foul line missed by Embiid. So now it's 84-83 Boston. The go-ahead bucket of all people, Tatum, is 2 for 15, and he's on the handle here between the rings.
Oh, and he's looking to get another look at it right now. He saw one go down. He's ready to be aggressive.
Freezes, step back, wing right 3. Bang, got it. Back-to-back threes for Jason Tatum.
Now, I don't want anyone out there to think that I'm rooting for one team or another, but that's my dog. That's the Jason Tatum that I've known since he was 14 years old, that I've watched grow up and play this game and become one of the best basketball players in the world. Struggled all night long and steps up and makes 2 huge 3-point field goals to give his team a 4-point lead. Once again, that's my dog.
13 for your guy. I'm sorry, your dog.
Tyrese Maxey is my dog, too. So just in case anybody was wondering, let's even that out.
Timeout called here. 3:34 to go. It's a 4-point lead for Boston in a game that's now featured 10 lead changes and 6 ties. And that literally took the breath away from a sold-out Wells Fargo Center. Tonight's attendance, 21,337. Our attendance tracker, as always, brought to you by Vivid Seats, where you earn rewards with every purchase. Vivid Seats Rewards is your ticket to more tickets. Vivid Seats. Life happens live. My friend, some nights at work are better than others. This
I tell you what,
outstanding fun.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. We asked Joe Mazzulla afterwards, are you having fun? It's been my question to coaches throughout this entire playoff run where I've had the opportunity alongside you and so many great play-by-play analysts to ask these coaches questions pregame. That is my question I end with. Joe Mazzulla simply says, yes, I'm having fun, but ask me when this one's over. Again, I'll maybe have a different answer.
He needs an appointment made for Sunday. Here's Harden around the high middle screen, stops mid-post, left side of the lane, flips it out to Maxey, tees up a 3. That's sails over the iron, no good. And Tatum popped the rebound back over the backboard towards Smart on the near baseline.
It's heat check time right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's going. No question about it. You got to get the basketball out of his hands because he's going.
He's up against Maxey now with Tucker waiting to help. Tatum down the right side of the lane. Steps to the rim. Reverse layup. No good. Threw it over his shoulder. Philly clears it. Broken floor. Maxey down the lane. Foul.
Now, that was a play on the basketball by Malcolm Brogdon, so I can't imagine that Ed Malloy would come in and call that a clear path foul.
No.
That was on Malcolm Brogdon.
But it is a shooting foul.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if he was to be judged in the gather. Brogdon said no. Maxey's at the line to our left. It's Maxey's 25 and Embiid's 26 that have carried Philadelphia's scoring load here tonight. .253 to go. Oh, and there's your first missed free throw of the game for Philadelphia.
Good thing you nor I said anything about their free throw shooting before that, because that would be a definition of the announcer jinx.
Yes, I wanted to say he was 4 for 4, and I just held up because he's your guy.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
No, that's my dog.
A dog.
That's my dog.
Difference between a guy and a dog would be
just not a lot of difference.
No, but just another ring up the
you're
ladder.
My guy.
Okay.
And there's a lot of endearment in that.
Yeah.
But that's my dog.
All right. Clear on that. 87-84, Boston. Smart into the lane. Euros around Harris. Puts it up and scores.
Continuing to make big plays. Marcus Smart putting his money where his mouth is. He talked about what his team needed to win this game, and he's going out and doing it.
He's got 22. Pass the right corner. Tucker for 3. Off the iron, no good. Harden tracks it down to the right sideline outside the three-point line. Harden to the foul line. Dumps it back to Tucker, corner right. Dribbles and fumbled a handoff to Harden, but James saves it. 4 to shoot. Harden drives to the right angle. Runs into Horford. Contact and a foul.
That was great defense by Al Horford. And he wants the officials to review that for a hostile act on James Harden after the play.
Oh, and Joe Mazzulla will oblige.
Yeah, that was great defense. That was all ball. I believe that the Celtics are going to win this challenge. And again, we are quite a ways from the floor, so maybe there was some hand on that basketball. But if that foul was called on Al Horford while James Harden was running,
is a defensive personal foul on Boston. They are calling timeout to challenge.
This is a great challenge by Joe Mazzulla. Win or not, that looked like a lot of basketball from Al Horford defensively on that possession.
Yeah, I don't see a hostile act anywhere.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think there was any chance they were calling a foul on Al Horford. I thought Al Horford wanted to review for a hostile act on James Harden because he shoves Horford after the play. And so that's what I thought it was. But that looks like a great defense by Horford, getting a hand on the basketball as James Harden goes up for a shot.
This is a really tough one right now to be adjudicated by this crew here in the replay center. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. 10 seconds for station ID. This is the NBA on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app presented by Indeed.
After replay review, the challenge is successful. The defender legally gets to the ball. It will be Philadelphia ball on the sideline.
If you didn't hear it during our station identification, the challenge is successful. No foul on Al Horford here. It will be Boston basketball as a result.
No, Philly ball still.
I'm sorry, yes, Philly ball.
But 1.7 on the shot clock.
Yeah,
that's the important part for this one. And so, of course, the Celtics have an opportunity to get another defensive stop right here, putting the pressure on Philly to be able to get a quality shot with 1.7 remaining.
89-84. Boston leads it. 2:11 to play. We'll reset timeouts and fouls when we get below that 2-minute mark. This is going to be inbounded below the foul line extended on the right sideline. 1.7 to shoot. Harden's on the trigger. Looking. Bounce pass into Melton. Turns, shoots baseline right. Off the iron, but he missed it. You got to look. Amazing.
Got a pretty good look, but a great job by Jaylen Brown contesting on that play.
2 minutes remaining. Smart hits a flaring Tatum. Shoots for three. Oh! 3 straight makes from downtown for a Tatum. Give them 16, and Boston leads 92-84 with 1:50 to play. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining. Harden around the high middle screen. Draws Horford on the switch. Takes him left side of the floor. Works him to the left block. Climbs Horford. Shoots. Missed it point blank. Horford taps the rebound out to Smart. Smart straight up the floor. Lost the handle. Tobias Harris knocked it loose to the free throw line. There's a scrum for it. And a timeout is called by Boston as it is just secured in a moment's notice by Marcus Smart.
And how about everyone? I mean, no man left behind. Everyone in the Boston Celtics traveling party on the floor to pick up Marcus Smart. Coaches, players, everybody sprinting out on the floor. Now, at the end of the day, I'm sure many of them were wanting to ask Marcus Smart, where were you going? What were you doing on that possession? Even still, they come out to pick him up, help him up after the effort that he made to save the basketball that he almost turned over on that last possession.
If partner, I would have told you that Boston leads by 8 with 1:31 to go, and Marcus Smart is the leading scorer for the Boston Celtics, you'd have said what?
I would have said Marcus Smart is a man of his word. He said exactly what he was going to do and what his team needed to do. And again, this game is far from over. 1:31 remaining. But he has done exactly what he said that was necessary for his team to get this win, which is to fight, scratch, claw, do whatever you can to win. And he simply said, hopefully everyone makes it out safely. Verbatim.
Yes.
Hopefully everyone makes it out safely to be able to play in a Game 7. And but he said, if you're concerned about that, this is not the game for you. And I respect the way Marcus Smart has approached this game here as if it was a Game 7 and there's no game tomorrow.
All right, so Boston has 1 timeout remaining. Philly has 2. 91 seconds to go. Philly's problem now is that they're now shooting 35% for the game. They led by 5 earlier in this quarter. Smart off the inbound, picks up his dribble, feeds Tatum, front court left. 5 to shoot, crossover dribble, spins past Tucker, rises at the nail, shoots, left a 15-footer short. Rebounded by Harden. Every possession is big now for Philly. Harden slipped at the foul line, lost the ball, and a foul called as Boston heads to the other end.
And James Harden fell down on his own on that possession.
Yep.
That wasn't even close to a foul. And he's in the backcourt upset about it, but he just fell. Yep. I mean, he just basically tripped over his own feet on that possession.
The foul's on P.J. Tucker, his second. Free throws still in play with a minute to go. Some in Philly are heading out of the building. Tatum between the circles. 9 to shoot. Here comes Horford to screen. Tatum draws Embiid on a switch. Works his way left. Shoots an angle 3. No good. Horford got the rebound for Boston. to Brown and reset to Brogdon. 40 seconds remaining. And they're just playing keep away now. Tatum fires for three wing right. Got it. 3 threes. Make it 4 threes in the fourth quarter for Jason Tatum. It fuels a 14-1 run. And Boston leads by 11 with 36.6 seconds to go. Please note your calendar. There will be NBA basketball from Boston on Sunday night.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. And again, I don't think this is the only Game 7 we're going to see. I don't believe that this is it. I think we're going to see multiple Game 7s across the NBA this weekend. But one thing's for certain. Well, I shouldn't say for certain. Still 36.6 remaining. And we have seen crazier things happen. But with the 11-point lead, there's a strong chance that we will have basketball in Boston on Sunday.
Philadelphia fans, have a look like, well, they ate something that I can't talk about on the radio. It is dour mood as Philadelphia fails to clinch the series here at home, which they'd only done 2 other times against Boston in the entire history of this franchise. And here are the Celtics. Once again, just like last year in round 2, down 3-2, force a Game 7 against Milwaukee.
This is the reason why Jason Tatum is one of the best players in the world. He struggled mightily for 3.5 quarters of this game. But the greatest basketball players have the mentality necessary to do what it takes to win. And he was able to step up and knock down 4 huge threes here to end this game.
14 points in this fourth quarter. And Philly has emptied their bench. A knockdown jumper at the free throw line. Makes it 95-86, but with the shot clock off, Boston's going to dribble this ball out, and fittingly, it's in the hands of Tatum, who will end the night 5 of 21. But 4 of the 5 makes came here in the fourth quarter.
None bigger than the first 3. Right in front of the bench, Joel Embiid out defending Jason Tatum. He lines up a 3, knocks it down, comes back on the next possession, step back, knocks down a 3, and from going from down 1 to up 5 that quickly, and the Boston Celtics never looked back after that display of great offensive basketball by Jason Tatum here at the end of this fourth quarter.
Game 6 belongs to the Celtics. There'll be a Game 7 on Sunday in Boston. The final score, Boston 95, Philadelphia 86. And we've said a lot of things about Marcus Smart tonight. And as he dons the headset courtside, Marcus, just know that it was all good, and it was all about what you did tonight, backing up your words that were said to your team and publicly in between Games 5 and 6. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. It was a hard fought effort. It took everything we had, but, that's the
Marcus,
playoffs.
you got us?
I got you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, Marcus.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
We do, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
It was a hard-fought win. Team effort. We needed everything we had. We're playing against a really good team. That's what playoff basketball is about.
Marcus, you talked earlier today about you had to fight, scratch, claw, do what was ever necessary for this team to win this game and force a Game 7. You led by example doing that from the first quarter on to this game. But what did you verbally say to your team to get them ready?
I told my teammates, you got to be a man. We got to man up. You know what I'm saying? They put their hands on us real tough at our place, and we got to come back and return the favor. If you're not ready to do that, then go home. Don't even come on this flight.
Marcus, what was the moment for you guys here late in this game that turned it back into your favor? Was it one particular play, a certain guy? What was it?
It was everybody. We managed the game. They went on a run, and, everybody stepped up from Al to me to Jalen to Jason to D. White and everybody else coming in and making the right play at the right time.
Marcus, with you guys having the experience of going through this last year at this same point of the season versus Milwaukee, how much confidence did you have in your guys that you would be able to pull it off again?
Through the roof. We got juice tonight, and that's what we needed.
Can you help me understand through the eyes of a player here, and I've got one next to me, and Corey Alexander, when a guy like Mr. Tatum has the struggles all night and then has, well, whatever you want to call it, in the fourth to hit big shots and lift you guys up over the top?
It's big. Him and JB get the big money to do it. That's why they all NBA for a reason. So he came alive. We need it. And I just kept telling those guys, be you. We need you guys to lead this team. This is your team. And he stepped up tonight.
We'll see you Sunday in Boston.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Marcus Smart, one of our stars of the game tonight. Why not? 22 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. And he played 42 minutes, partner, in getting Boston and the Celtics to move the series back to their town for Game 7 on Sunday.
And probably the greatest leadership game that I've seen this entire season in the NBA. And not only based upon the fact of what he did on the court, being the leading scorer for the Boston Celtics, but he said it. Again, my favorite athletes, Muhammad Ali, Deion Sanders, the guys who say what they're going to do and then they go back it up in the biggest moment. Marcus Smart, I've always been a fan, but became even more of a fan of his after what I heard him say and then what I watched him do here tonight.
Tatum at 19. And then off the bench, Malcolm Brogdon, who's basically been the best bench player this postseason in the league, had 16 points, 13 of them early on to give Boston at the time what was a 16-point lead. Real quick, 26 for Joel Embiid to go along with 10 rebounds. I think I had 4 block shots for him. 26 for Tyrese Maxey tonight. He was 9 of 20 from the floor. All this is fine and dandy. We have a Game 7.
The 2 greatest words in sports.
Indeed.
Game 7. We'll see Sunday.
We'll have it right here on ESPN Radio. That'll do it for us tonight in Philadelphia, where Boston has, once again, shown us who they are in forcing a Game 7. These two teams will play it out one more time for a right to play in the Eastern Conference Finals. Once again, the score, 95-86, Boston over Philadelphia. For Corey Alexander, producer Mike Martino, and our engineer, Mr. Paul Strager, I'm Sean Kelly. So long for just a while. Let's send it to Kevin Winter in the studio with the postgame show.
Hang on, I got to put my paper bag down, guys. The NBA on ESPN Radio has been presented by Indeed. Need to hire? You need Indeed.com/credit. Up next on the NBA Tonight postgame show, from an absolute miserable 40 minutes to saving the Celtics season. We'll hear from Jason Tatum. We'll give you the highlights of how Boston has set up a winner-take-all Game 7 back at TD Garden on Sunday. Boston beats Philadelphia 95-86. This is the NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Digging deeper, we gotta strike gold. The road to the ACC Softball Championship is on ACC Network.
Over the wall and gone!
A team that doesn't give up. Live from South Bend, Indiana.
Then get ready to play for a title.
The 2023 ACC Softball Championship, presented by Auto Owners Insurance, continues through semifinals on Friday at 1 and 3:30 Eastern on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. We're gonna strike gold.
This is Greeny.
We were staying in the same hotel as the prospects. That has never happened before. So I sit down at this table, I've got my breakfast buffet, and these people are sitting next to me, and they recognize me, from the TV. And I say, oh, what brought you down here? And they say, oh, we're C.J. Stroud's uncle and aunt. I'm sitting next to them. And then I realized everyone there is related to someone.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app. Keyshawn